Welcome back to the Ironheart Merchant Company, a Saturday session. Unfortunately, due to some conflicts last week and not having a one-shot ready last week, we did not have session. We had too many players missing, and unfortunately enough, due to that, we decided to go on without them. Though, that being said, we return once more to the party, coming back to the end of that hag fight. As many of you may remember, the party had spent some time in Greg's Maratom's land of, or city of Diamond's Death, learning a bit about the merchant guild and how they were ranked and what kind of rankings there were. The party kind of managed to get themselves registered, and with the celebrations coming forth, the party decided to take extreme advantage of this by going on as many quests as possible that were sponsored by the city. This, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you'd look at it, would bring the party to the, if I remember correctly, it was, what was the quest, what was the name of the quest you took?
It was the soldier quest. Soldier cleanup.
Soldier cleanup, that's what it was, yes, okay. Oh, yes, I remember now. So as you lot would find yourself with this the chance of a grand reward, chasing after and looking for these soldiers that were out and about in the outskirts of the city, you would head south of Diamond's Death, trying to find the territory where these soldiers were supposedly noted to be. Though, as you would unfortunately find the individuals inside of what would later become known as a hag den, one that seemed to be worshipping some strange creature that had been caused to come to life after the party's little bit of, let's say, we'll call it a mock battle. To be fair, you lot did quite well, as the party managed to take on the soldiers and 3 different types of hags, holding their own for most of the time until poor James would find himself teleported. Though, even with that, Alar fighting off an Annis hag, Rolaman managing to hold off the rest of the few soldiers remaining and killing the sea hag, the party would honestly find themselves with ease, though poor James would get smacked around and beaten with a wooden spoon, and his ego quite squished. He found himself easily tipping over the large soup bowl that Granny, the giant green hag, had tried to kill him with, while avoiding what he would later find out was a 5-headed hydra at the bottom of the pot. As James managed to finally get to the edge, escaping from Granny, the party would manage to overall scare and chase her off, as James, with either quick thinking or incredible stupid luck, would focus his mind on the statue of this godlike snake creature, cracking it and causing the creature to come to life, immediately causing Granny to flee, as well as the few of her ilk that would have been left in the area. The party, though, as they would find themselves running for it, leaving the giant snake to begin fighting as it was, would find themselves unfortunately ambushed on the way out, as they were carrying what remained of both the soldiers and the hag bodies. With 4 ogres now looking down at them, the party was surrounded at the entrance to this tree burrow, coming out with if I remember, you guys had a cart full of a couple bodies already, because you had gotten all the soldiers and the Innis hag and sea hag. That was what you had grabbed, if I remember correctly. As you lot come with James badly injured, Rollman kind of standing his ground, sword at the ready, Alar steps forth, already having made the roll during last week when we were waiting for session. Or at least that's how it looks. You'd get, what was it, 24 you said?
Alar talk good.
Alar
24
talk good,
was what it was.
Alright, Alar, what do you say to the ogres, out of curiosity? If you are there. If not, yeah. Alright, he's still on mute. Alright, so we'll take a minute here. But as Alar kind of thinks about what they want to say, James, we got a minute. How are you feeling from last week? I'm curious.
I'm about a 28 out of 42.
Oh, yeah, what was a 62 at the start of the fight? Because of the temp HP?
Yeah. That spoon and the soup.
Yeah. As the party had realized...
I want that hag's head now, but that'll happen later. I have some plans for this session.
The Granny Hag. Yeah. Well, here, we'll take a quick pause for those viewers at home. It'll be only a moment, but we'll be right back. All right. So, Lauren, now that you've had a chance, what do you say as you roll the 24 in diplomacy to the ogres to get them as they kind of stand there? You notice each of the or two of them seem to be armed with a heavy club. One seems to have a great axe, and then the smallest of the four seems to be carrying what looks to be some large javelins. Which, well, I say javelins. For you, they're like the size of small trees.
Well, I'm in the same size
Hey, one of
category.
those
It'd be a
nearly killed
javelin for
me.
me, technically.
That is true. I will say these guys are 10 feet tall. I think actually you're only a foot shorter than them normally.
Uh, so I'm a foot shorter when I'm another vestige. This one I'm 8'2".
Oh, got you. But yeah,
I
as you
look
look
them
at
up and
them,
down. Do they look like they care? Because I have a cart of dead hags and other creatures. Do they care?
give me a sense motive.
Because this is gonna drastically change how this talk goes. Let's see. I go to sense motive. Yeah, I'm not bad
Do
at
I
sense
need to
motive.
roll sense motive?
It's his check. He's the one who's trying to gauge what to say here.
20 for 22.
22. As you look at as the ogres seem to look over towards the corpses, it they're not moving immediately, and you don't see any panic or concern flashing across their face. They're not very bright creatures, and their emotions seem to be pretty clear. More of a general like questioning look looks to be going on at this point. The smallest looks to almost have a slight smile on their face. It kind of flashes for a moment. The other three seem to kind of keep their faces a little bit more just as a general shield across them. Not really giving any sort of show of empathy, but not showing any sense of backing down.
I make a show of kind of looking them up and down, and taking my time doing it to not seem threatening, like I'm doing anything. And as this vestige, I have to be very blunt. He's very straightforward. You fight for food?
The largest with the great axe kind of speaks, and as he takes a step forward, putting his axe kind of onto his hip as he kind of shoves it into the belt onto his belt and goes, "Not food, but will work for food."
Mm. What normally work for?
Um, living comfortably. I don't know, slaves, food, women, roof over our heads, godly blessings.
We feed, we travel, constant roof overhead, can pay decently well. Interested?
You see him look back at the other three as they seem to just kind of give some affirming nods, and he kind of looks back at you, itches the side of his head for a second, and then holds his hand out to you openly as he goes to shake your hand and goes, "Sure. Name's Crack of Clan Roughblood."
I'll shake his hand because I think me and ogres have a similar strength score. I think I'm 1 point higher than the average ogre.
He does not seem to try and grip your hand aggressively in the slightest. Seems
Well, yeah,
to almost do it kindly.
I'll say respect. You do enough for it to be like pressure. You know what I mean? Not enough to hurt, but be a firm handshake.
Yeah, he shakes your hand and goes, "Bolgarn, you're..." And he points to the smallest and goes, "No."
I'll nod. I'll look towards James because I was speaking in primitive, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just say, they're willing to work?
Then I'm willing to pay.
All right. I'll just nod. Bossman agrees.
You see Croc look over at James and goes, and perfect Dwarvish goes, "Yeah, understand."
Oh, even better.
And Dwarvish will go, "Glad to have you aboard."
So it looks like previous masters are dead. Nothing else. Kind of goes and you see as he kind of walks over to the cart, looking at it, and kind of grabs hold of the hag body that Alar had kind of come out with originally. Who's still alive, by the way. Yeah, unconscious, and kind of picks her up and shoves her onto the cart. as the other three kind of getting the idea, kind of start walking over. The youngest Nell, as the cart's load, kind of picks up the cart as a whole and just starts walking with it.
I do want to say when I brought her out, I would have gagged the anesthetic starter from casting in case she wakes up.
Okay.
I would have also told you to bind her hands.
Oh, her hands and legs were bound already. He did that when he was capturing
I was
her.
saying I did that, but don't trust that Cameron because she is an Annis hag. I think she's like a 20 in strength.
Yeah, she's been hog-tied. Well, you also got a really high-use rope check, if I remember right.
I did. I got like a 22, I think, but it still stands. Annis hags are very strong.
That's true. But yeah, as the ogre's as Nell picks up the cart, he kind of looks to you two, kind of unsheathing muscly BK, as he's been called, and kind of look the ogres just kind of look at you, James, waiting for your orders.
I'll start leading the way back to the ship.
Okay.
Well, town first. We gotta get rid of the
town
bodies
first.
and the living Annis
Gotta
hags.
go drop off the bodies first. So
I'd rather not.
well,
keep
they're in the
this
same
living
direction.
hag. Look, I don't want to keep this living hag any longer than we have to.
That's fair.
The wife thing was.
We're
a
heading
gag.
back
I don't
to
wanna
town
keep
first. So let's go.
He nods, or they nod, and they say as they kind of follow along. As you start heading towards the city, go ahead and give me a D100 roll real quick.
Do you want to, Cameron, or would you like me to?
I got it.
All right. Well, the good news is high-low D100s also now usually don't mean good or bad; they're just random. So
All
could
right.
be decent.
As you lot it takes, I believe it took you guys about a week to get here, if I remember correctly.
No, half a day.
Oh, it was half a day. That's right. Yeah, that's
It wasn't
right.
that far.
Because you guys were only heading towards the hefty forest. That's right.
It was. We were told it was going to take like an hour. And
Yeah.
We kept walking until we found it.
I remember right. Because you guys didn't go all the way down to. Yep. All right. Yeah. So as you lot kept taking half of the day, the rest of the day to head out. For a moment, you do see something that kind of catches your eye as another group of adventurers kind of passes by you lot, kind of following along not a road, but a path that seems to be used by the farmers out in this area, and many of the hunters in these areas. You do see a group of adventurers. As the largest of the lot, or the only one that sticks out, other than the three dragonkin, is the single-eyed, large, muscle-bound, shirtless, cyclops-looking-like creature. He stands as he walks by, about 15 feet tall and about half as wide, as he is nothing but muscle, carrying what looks to be a massive
wanted
longsword.
poster.
As you take a second, give me a, we'll just call it an intelligence check.
If he does, we're not dealing with it. I don't really care.
No, but I can say. So I'm heading this way.
Look, just don't give him more than a glance and just ignore him.
21.
It's a Cyclops, it's the only one you've seen, but as you thinking about it for a moment, I will note the bards you're familiar with, and given the wanted poster said the singing eye, definitely are not muscly or carry great swords on their back. And typically don't walk around like this, like this. If this person's a wanted criminal and they're just walking out in the open, seems kind of fishy as you kind of think about it. He does look surprisingly similar, but again, it's a Cyclops, and given that the information's probably secondhand, yeah, it could also be it's just secondhand information. The person who drew this was like, oh, I know what a Cyclops looks like. Let me draw that, And this guy happens to just look like an average Cyclops,
Yeah, that's fine.
Then, like any good person walking by, I'll give him a polite nod and continue on my way.
Yeah, light wave, nod, keep walking.
They seem to kind of nod and as they pass by. You see or give me a listen check to see if you hear anything from them as they walk by.
I have good wisdom for a reason, damn it.
Yeah, I don't have good listen, so I hope you roll well.
That's a 15.
I got a 5.
5, okay. Yeah.
Self-absorbed, self-being great.
Right? With 15, you do hear as the the dragon can kind of walk past. One or two of them seem to whisper, "Is that the Ironheart Merchant Company?" And then the other go, "I think that is because I don't think there's any other dwarves that travel around with weird looking gnolls."
Huh.
I'm concerned they can tell I'm a gnoll when I'm full plate armored out. Um,
I'm concerned. I'm slightly concerned that our name's getting out there for me having weird employees. But you know what?
that's fine. Everyone's quirky in this age that's strong.
It's
You're
called
quirky, you
it's
have
called
weird
being
hires.
eccentric. But
You're
yeah,
eccentric and you hire weird ones?
Oh,
yeah.
publicity is good publicity.
Totally. As you continue on your way, as you finally get to the city, you do see it's getting. It seems to be getting kind of dark at this point. The skies being kind of are starting to blacken. Thankfully it seems to be clearing. Yet no storms. Very light wind leaving for just a chill 30-ish degrees. It's not comfortable, but it's still it's at least not frosty as you don't feel the bite hitting you. James very comfortable in this situation, though it might be a little warmer than what he's accustomed to. At this point, it's a welcome change compared to the what you were expecting or what you were dealing with in Dragon's Crown when it was a Sahara. Um, so as you
Or
guys
cities
finally,
lands.
yeah. As you lot head up towards Dragon's Crown, Rolman kind of deciding to split off, kind of mentions that he is heading towards the ship to go take care of some things, leaving you lot to head back towards the city all by yourselves with the ogres in tow. As you look,
Gonna guess as we were coming back, I also gave the ogres a rundown of what to expect on the ship and to not assault
I
any of
mean,
the other employees or slaves.
I'm assuming we're mostly treating them as muscle, like basically
Yeah.
just workers. Yeah.
yep. They seem to be pretty understanding, and at the mention of like Grandpa's many different types of meals and foods that he's cooked, they seem to be completely more interested in that than anything else.
Grandpa
Um,
loves them when they like to eat, so
yeah, as you head towards the
Garden
city,
Grate?
the city itself, Diamond's Crown. Wait, what? Oh yeah. Heading up towards the gates. As it is night, they are closed. As you come forward, you see this black, short kobold in very thick, slightly brightly tinted blue armor. Kind of come walking up as he looks up and smiles and goes, "Oh, it's you. You've got new employees, James.
always
Uh,
scouting.
interesting. I got a promotion.
Good for you.
Yeah, figured I'd show off the new duds. I bought some new armor with the paycheck, at the recommendation of another smith that said he knew you pretty well, so, wanted to say thank you for that. Your friend Rain, by the way, she has been arrested, again. The third time in 2 hours, honestly. She went from one bar to an or tavern to another, and well, first when she was taken in, she got out, and then she went to the another, and then we caught her again. She's becoming quite a problem. I just kind of want to let you know, the expectation is you'll be paying for her, bail, and fines.
How much did it amount to?
About 10,000 gold pieces.
Oh, she's gonna be working hard to get that worked off then.
Well, to be fair, that's not accounting for all the damages she's caused. I assume the businesses are probably going to be sending you a bill for that.
Mm-hmm.
She put a guy's head through the entirety of a wall. I didn't know
My
she
only
could do
question
that
is
with a
she
knife.
the one who started it?
Probably. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just the messenger on this one.
James just grips the bridge of his nose and rubs his eyes going outwards and just goes, "All right, she can." Well, first we have to take. I gesture up to the cart that's being carried. The soldiers some of them that were remaining out there, along with some people who had, well, made use of them, is the best word.
He nods and goes, "Well, best of luck, I guess. Yeah, to be honest, I expect Greg's Tom's gonna be pretty angry. He's been in a bad mood all day. So, if you're gonna bail it rain out, I'd do it sooner than later.
I'll go and head. I would head to
You
the guard station for that.
you want me handle Rain?
If you think you can handle turning those in, yes, and then I'll go bail her
Well,
out.
no. Rain might take better if I bail her out.
I'll pass off 10,000 coins to you and go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm going to side quest.
The guard or the small kobold guard, now a sergeant, it kind of waves his hands as the gates open, and as you guys kind of head in, the ogre seems to kind of following after James as Alar starts to kind of jog off at a little bit faster speed to head towards the castle itself. We're gonna follow Alar for a moment.
Go ahead.
As we do, to give James a moment to finish cooking anything he was, if he was.
Oh, everything's cooked. I'm just
Okay.
pacing.
But yeah, as you head towards the castle in Diamond's Death, the massive castle at the center, the more statues popping up of Greg's Tom now depicted around the fountain, seemingly shaking hands with other individuals that seem to be representative of other world leaders that have been kind of carved out and set aside. Utham's up there. You see the depiction of Torges, Terracitus, as well as King Movasi, as like four central pillars to the fountain as you kind of pass by towards the castle itself. As you come towards the walls, a small castle towers, but it seems kind of set outside of it, where a couple of guards have set themselves up. One looks to be a older looking dwarf. And the other seems to be, as you kind of look at him, it looks to be a young dragonkin of sorts. Very dark in scale, brownish of coloration, and looks to be kind of chubby. Both of them seem to be just wearing normal scale mail and kind of sitting around at a table, kind of throwing cards around. As you kind of approach, they don't even seem to react as you come up to this, what looks to be almost an open doorway of sorts that just kind of allows for people to come in and out.
I mean, I'll just keep walking by until someone stops me. I don't exactly know protocol. I'm kind of a null.
Oh yeah, as you continue to walk past, let me see if they get a spot, if they notice.
I'm kind of a big clanking dude in metal armor. I hope they notice.
Oh, wow. Hey, well, no, the one time I roll that 20, that's going to be great for the night. As the dwarf kind of looks over and goes, as he sees you walk past, goes, oh, hey, wait, as he falls out of his chair, stumbling, kind of getting up off the ground, pulling his armor together, and goes,
What?
You!
Yes?
You're not supposed to be going in there.
But here to bail someone out.
Oh! Who?
Rain?
Genasi? Really pain in the ass?
Yes.
She's kind of in the middle of something with the captain last I saw. Something about her, he basically offered her something to get her out, and she apparently chopped his balls off. I don't know, she's got him held in there and hostage at knife point. I'm not going in there to deal with it. They only pay me a gold piece a day.
Me friend, oh. I just realized I talk a little less dumb, I'm kind of Savnok right now. A friend of hers. I can calm her down.
You got the coin to bail her out?
Yes.
Alright, put it on the table and... I'm not going in there. Here, he tosses you a key.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, set this very oversized sack on the table and then just grab the key and go walking towards the...
As you start walking away, he points towards the castle wall and goes, "There's a white door. You won't see it until you smack the wall. Trust me, just tap it with your hand. It'll open up. And just tell him that you're there to pick up rain. Tell him Gray Belt sent you. It'll be fine."
I'll nod while not turning around and just keep walking towards this door.
Yeah, as you come over to the castle wall, kind of walking over, there's no entrance other than the big gates that you see. As you kind of head over to the wall where the individual kind of seemed to indicate, kind of smacking the wall a few times about finally someone or a little like iron. You hear iron sound like it kind of grinding against iron as a little latch opens up. A heavy stone door, kind of opens up and kind of dust spews out. What looks to be a large troll kind of stands there with long black hair and full palladium armor. Kind of looks at you and goes, "Business."
Paid bail for Rain, here to pick her up.
Ah, Captain No Balls with her. And he kind of like steps aside, letting you through. As you hear these like shouting and yelling and screaming of man very high pitchedly. As
just
Wow,
gonna,
the lack of testosterone hit him fast.
as the
I'm just gonna march in with my loud clanking metal armor.
As you do, you see as Rain is holding something long and bleeding in one hand up in the air, laughing while the blood is kind of like dripping down her arm. What looks to be like very large and very muscular and very grizzled Goliath guard, who is now with his what you can see his pants are down and there's blood spewing from his waist as he is standing behind his desk. And she just looks down at him and goes, "And so what did we learn?" As she swings this like very sharp and bloody knife towards his throat. And you just see his eyes kind of go rolling back as he pales and goes unconscious. Rain just kind of, as she hears you kind of coming in with your armor clanking, looks over and goes, "Oh, and that," she kind of tosses the piece of meat off to the side and goes, as she wipes off the dagger and goes, "Is that you, Alar?"
Body of Alar, at least.
"Oh, and who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?"
Oh, the great warlord Savnok, a pleasure to meet you.
"Oh, so you're like the stiff demon lord, or you like something else?"
I stole an artifact from the heavens, and I conquered the mortals.
Sure you did. Alright, so powerful and strong. I like that. Well, I guess we don't have any real business left with the warden there. I think he's kind of busy. What'd you call him, troll? And then you see the troll kind of giggle and goes, "Captain," as he kind of comments and whispers, "Captain No Balls," under his breath, and giggles again. And she goes, "I like that. Carve that into his door," as she kind of starts walking out.
God damn it, Raid, you're gonna cause me problems.
Amen. Remember, renown causes strength. This guy may gain a level with Captain Nobles.
And she kind of puts her dagger
The
away.
monster Goliath of Captain No-Balls, the eunuch Goliath.
Kind of walks over to a chest and kind of cracks it open after she kicks at a lock for a few times. Open it. She pulls her stuff out, puts her armor on over her commoner's clothing, and goes, "You have one drink," and they decide to lock you up, and then the warden decides, "Oh, if you can get out of here, if you bribe me," I think he got a good bribe out of that.
Bail was expensive. I don't think James is very happy.
Well, does James want to join Captain No Balls?
Savnok shrugs because he doesn't know. Nor does he really care.
She kind of takes her dagger and kind of twirls it around her finger a little bit, and she goes, "I guess we'll go find out." I feel James in the distance feels a cold shiver goes down his spine.
No, James in the distance feels an annoying presence in the back of his mind going, "I'm gonna have to talk to her about the money she now owes me because I have
It's
to
a
pay off
cold
all
shiver
these
in his
debts."
pants.
There's a shriveling pain suddenly, like, oh no.
Something is shrinking to hide.
It's like when a group of guys see someone get kicked in the balls and they feel the phantom pain. It's
Yeah,
like,
he knows that something's coming. He's like, "Wait, I feel some pain, and where is this coming from? Essa, are you near?"
so with a knife, like leaving, like, well, I guess my job's done for me.
Let's jump over to James as Alar and Rain start heading back towards the ship. James, as you with the giants in hand or behind you kind of head towards Garden's Grace, the dark streets, people in the tavern still drinking, laughing, music playing loudly. the streets seem to be almost clear for the most part, past the occasional drunk that seems to be kind of walking about. But as you and your four ogres kind of walking down the street behind you, carrying this cart, kind of seems to clear a quick path of any drunkards that were looking at you for an easy target of insult. Many seemingly, as they see the four heavily armed bodyguards that look like they don't seem to have any brain cells between them, kind of get the realization of that you might be someone important. As you kind of pass through the city unharassed and unbothered, coming up to the bar of Garden's Grace, as you or the guild of Garden's Grace, you see as Ice is sitting in there, kind of playing at a crossword, what looks to be like some sort of crossword puzzle, writing down a bunch of letters, reading something, and kind of messing around with something as he looks up from the bar itself and looks over at you. The inn itself seems to be completely empty at this hour and quiet. The garden out front seems to have one guest, what looks to be a little old lady, kind of sitting out there sipping tea and just staring at the flowers as she enjoys the music on the night.
As I walk past her, I'll give her a polite nod and go inside to conduct my business.
Yeah, as she seems to not even acknowledge you as you pass by, but that's neither maybe an insult nor a compliment in this situation. As you kind of pass by, the four ogres kind of just set the cart down outside and stand outside waiting for you as you head in. Ice kind of, as he sees the door open, the bell jingle, kind of looks over and goes, James, my boy, what can I do for you?
James will smile. The soldiers have been taken care of, although you have a hag problem out there.
Oh, man, tell me about it. My ex-wife.
I give him a smile and go, no, I'm talking about the ones that, prefer to eat people.
My current wife.
Does everyone's ex-wife just become a hag? Is that how this works?
He goes, I tell you, she's just as nasty and mean and angry, and you hear from the distance a shattering of something heavy and metal, and you hear Ice completely go quiet at that for a second, and looks at you and goes, "Oh yes, you were saying you have what? Yeah,
Soldiers, some of the remnant soldiers, along with one sea hag and one alive anise hag."
Oh, I mean, hags will fetch you a good price on the slave market for living. Dead? Yeah. I'll give you 10,000 for a sea hag. 30 for an anise hag. But anise hag on the open market, shoot, probably 70, 80,000 gold pieces if you can sell her to the right buyer.
I'll sell her to you for 35 so that you can double it.
Oh, you're gonna make me do the hard work. You see it like a sigh for a second. And he goes, I only guess is gonna let me turn this one down, so alright, sure. 35 for the hag. If the sea hag you mentioned is dead.
She is.
Alright, that brings you to 45.
And then there was 12 soldiers?
I think it was 8, because I know 2 weren't actually.
It was
takeable,
8. It was 4. Okay. Yeah, it was 4 and 4.
2 that we killed, we didn't have time
8
to grab.
kobold
2
soldiers.
Actual soldiers, because 2 melded into shadows. They were just a spell.
He kind of nodded and goes, "All right, let me go take a look." He kind of climbs out from behind the bar.
I think the sea hag was literally bisected by Roloman.
It was.
Yeah, but
and then thrown back through the wall.
Yep.
Stabbed clean through and then kept on the other side.
As Ice comes out, saying the ogres, goes, "Oh, I see you
employees.
I see you kept. Oh, you hired the Rough Bloods. You know they're wanted, right? Well, were. I guess they're not anymore, given what you've killed all the witnesses. And you see Crack kind of smiles at that. As Ice kind of walks past, looking down at the corpses, you see him kind of take a stick from the garden, starts moving the bodies and looking at the heads, and goes, I got 2 sergeants, and the rest are low ranks. They ain't worth anything more than about 500 gold pieces for the low ranks. I'll give you 2,000 for the sergeant each, so 4,000 plus, he goes, about 3,000. So, he goes, in total, let's just round it to an even 50.
And even 50,000? That sounds perfectly fine to me.
He nods and goes, "Alright." God damn it, now I gotta figure out how to get this. Tied the knots on the anise hag.
That would have been Alar.
Well, I wonder if you realize that those are undone a while ago and that she's still out unconscious, though.
I just look at him and I give an honest shrug.
You know,
I don't know if you
stupid,
realized, but
lucky. Kind of goes to grab the hag and pulls them off by the hair, dragging them in as they wake up and start like fighting as they pull. You see their hands kind of now feeling the ropes break free and their legs start to. You see as they start to dig into the ground, holding. I'm gonna have a roll for them real quick. Give me a second to pull up. Ba-ba-ba. Oh god, I forgot how strong Ennis hags are. Ba-ba.
If this level 20 martial character can't hold the Annis Hag, I'm gonna be very upset for his sake.
Well, that was a net one. Oh, God. All right. You watch as Ice grabs hold of the Annis hag, who seems to dig their heels in for a moment, holding. And as they do, you watch as he just seems to yank their hair forward, and their whole body kind of goes limp, getting pulled forward without issue. As he walks in with them, disappearing into the back room and coming back out a few moments later to start unloading the bodies. The ogres seem to kind of catching on what to start kind of making a line and handing the bodies off to him in a kind of a chain. As this goes on, takes a few moments, and as the ogres finish up, Ice kind of looks over, or kind of walks over to you and hands you the gold. As he sets down the hefty sack of 50,000 gold pieces or 5,000 pieces of platinum, and goes, "I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect someone actually to take up that work."
I also would like to report that there's a very fat green hag out there that has a very weird magical spoon that can push someone 5 feet.
You
Or
gotta
actually tried
really
to
make
turn me
the
into
point
soup.
of how fat.
And I'm not talking fat like, oh, okay, she's big. No, I'm talking she enveloped something that was as big as a 5-headed hydra.
And looks at you, and you hear Crack kind of giggle a little bit, and Nell, the youngest, seems to nod. As Ice kind of looks at you and goes, Her name wasn't Granny, was it?"
Correct.
He kind of nods and goes, "Yeah, she's been a thorn in the side. She has 4 covens spread across the continent. She broke out of the hunting grounds to the south. Only a hag to ever make it through that divine barrier."
Well, I think she's one coven down.
Oh, she might be a coven down, or we prevented a startup of another one.
Well, it kind of explains why she's got Anna's hag kind of looked like her, and the sea hag also. I think what we're looking at is, I think you found 2 of her daughters. Which is good and bad, because that means that her mother is the one that we actually have to worry about. As that's the Grand Hag. She's not the first hag, but she's like one of the first daughters of the first hag. At least that's what the rumors go.
Well, she used a strange spell and got herself out of there after I broke something and a giant snake appeared.
A giant snake. Oh yeah. Next year, it looks like they're worshiping a primitive beast. It makes sense. Hags aren't all that bright, to be honest. At least back in my day, they weren't. Giant beasts were common to be worshipped by all sorts of lots, so it makes sense. I'll let Essa know and see if she wants us to do anything about it, but I doubt it. I will say, with this all cleared up, you planning to stay in town much longer?
Plan to do some other small bits of work and then probably head out.
Well, yeah, keep in mind if you do. There's been some spottings of the Golden Heart Merchant Company amongst ranks these last couple of days.
I would hope there's been spottings of the Ironheart. I would hope we've been seen.
Suddenly,
James will nod. I don't really have a quarrel with them, but alright.
Ace looks at you and goes, "I know Essa mentioned to mention it to you for an important reason. I can't remember why. It's probably
The only
nothing."
reason I'd need to know is if I'm well, that'd be the worst case scenario.
Don't say his full name.
It wasn't something important. If it was, she would be here to tell you herself, in my opinion. Last I heard, though, she's been sent south to treat with the new goblin settlement, so good luck as far as it goes. Yeah, looks about and goes, if there's nothing else,
I will give him a kind nod and take the coin and look at the guys and gesture to the cart, and we'll lead them back to the ship.
Ice waves to you as he yawns. As you kind of head outside, you do see as Olar and Rain are kind of walking down. Rain finishing on putting the rest of her gear on as she straps on the last couple of belts and weapons to her belt. As Olar comes walking down with her, you see as Ice kind of spots the two and seems to kind of hurriedly head inside as the ogres pick up the cart.
I think Savnok's just going on about a speech about his battles against Celestials and almost conquering the mortals as he walks.
Rain is fully and totally listening.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Look, Savnok likes the sound of his own voice. I don't think he cares.
Occasional, as you hear a click or tap of something being put away. As Alar and Rain catch up to you, James, you see as Rain kind of smiles over at you and goes, I hear you want to join Captain Newballs, young man.
Rain, next time you're going to cause trouble, you're not going to use my name to get out of it. That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
I didn't even use your name. That flippin' dragon did.
Which dragon?
The female one with the black scales. She gets pissed off really easily, and she kind of told me if I got in trouble to use your name.
God damn it, Essa.
She said it worked for her all the time.
It did. It worked really well.
And I'm gonna be honest.
Don't do it again.
10,000 bail was pretty nice, considering I managed to almost kill one of the royal guards. Well, it wasn't a royal guard. He was a member of the clan of the royal guard. It was a big old ape that grabbed my ass. Of course, I'm going to stab him in the butt. Now, he should be happy I carved my initials into his ass and left him alive. I think that's fair. And his commander didn't do anything about it.
Barroom.
James James, hearing the full story now, just rubs his forehead a little bit, looks at her. All right, I'm not gonna throw a fit about it then if that's what actually happened. I'm glad you're safe.
I mean, I might have called him a filthy ape, but we won't go into that.
No, see, barroom etiquette, you hit him upside the head with the mug, you stab him with a fork, because if you use those implements, you get in less trouble. So you learn these things while you travel.
It was a cooking knife, and to be fair, they handed it to me for my food.
I mean, if that was that's more than fair. My only thing is, if there's charges for property damage,
the fork,
you're working that off.
The fork causes pain and doesn't pierce as much, so they have less grounds to argue for injury for payments.
Well, technically, the bar owner's no longer living, so I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that part.
Huh, maybe we'll purchase a property here and put someone in charge of it.
Just go buy the bar immediately.
She just kind of nods and goes, also, there's a guy named Neff. I don't think we should bother him for a good while after that. Apparently, the big ape fellow was his, man. But supposedly he was sitting there in the bar, and he didn't do anything when I did things, so.
World's strongest mercenary? That guy.
I wouldn't call him that strong. He took one look at me and then went back to drinking, so I guess he either thought I was too weak to fight him, or he's kind of a pansy.
Or he saw no issues causing problems.
Their honor-bound type doesn't really like starting fights.
Yeah, so... And if his man started the fight and you finished it, then that's all there would be to it.
If you stabbed first, you'd probably start a barroom brawl, but... You know.
Well, that's good to know. Hey, man, I guess I shouldn't have to take that warning not to return to Mercenaries Hollow. I've got a great place we can go visit later.
Yeah, no.
I love a good foray with mercenaries. The best kind of people.
Exactly. It'll be great for drinking.
I'm going to be working on completing a few items and hopefully finishing off some other plans that I have here before we have to leave.
As you guys finally arrive at the ship at this point, having kind of walked through the whole city and through the castle gates, the ogres seem to kind of board on. As soon as Grandpa kind of sees them, he seems to understand and get a real quick perspective of what's going on. He seems to go below deck as you start to hear pots and pans moving about. The rest of the crew doesn't seem to come up as it is late at night, and many of them seem to be sleeping. As the ogres seem to go down and find themselves a spot to eat at the table, or at the bar, I guess, of the kitchen to eat.
What? I have a question, because I know I've asked this before, but I need to double check it. Average salary for someone working on an airship, even as just general labor, would be what? 1 gold coin
Let me
a
pull
day?
that. Let me pull that up. One moment.
I say there is a hireling thing for like hired workers for this.
Hush, you. Let the DM look like he knows what he's talking about.
I'm telling you more him so he can look it up next time himself.
I wasn't
I'm asking
totally
the
looking
DM.
that up immediately.
I wasn't
Okay,
calling you
just-
out. You didn't have to say anything. I was telling Cameron out.
Well, thank you for the information.
Yeah, there are rules for hirelings up to I think level 2 is the limit because you can hire like level 2 mercenary captains.
Yeah, there's mercenaries and then there's hirelings. It's two different things.
Yeah, I know like hireling, you can draw like cart drivers and stuff for like a few copper a day and stuff.
Yeah, so you're looking at anywhere between, I think it's what, let's see, about a gold piece to down to about a silver piece, depending on their capabilities.
Which, considering we're probably going to be paying them in immense amounts of food to slightly offset cost.
I was gonna say, now considering most of these are more like in mercenary individuals, I'd probably put at their daily wage would be considered anywhere between 2 silver pieces and 20 silver pieces per day.
So 2 silver to 2 gold. That's
Basically, yeah. Which would amount to roughly up to almost 916 gold pieces year. According to this, which I don't know how that works out, because that math don't math, but hey, you know what? Book says one thing, I will kind of, we'll see how that runs.
Maybe it counts yearly bonuses or something.
I'm just trying.
performance bonuses.
2 gold pieces a day, 365. Well, actually, no, we don't know how many days are in a D&D year, in all fairness. Maybe that's why.
That's true.
That could be, you know what? That's
So
understandable.
how much gold did it say for a year?
964 gold pieces a year for a 20 for a piece. Two gold pieces at 2 gold pieces a day. So that would be 4 divided by 2. That means there's 482 days apparently considered in
In the D&D year.
Now that's arms and equipment. That's not 100. That is a third-party book, so keep that in mind. But yeah. So
Okay, by that calculation.
I have more days than that in my year. I actually have a calendar, so.
Yeah, I know. But still going daily, and then I can
Yeah.
pay them monthly if I need to. That's fair, and offset the cost by the food. I can just pay them the 1 gold and tell them the other half goes for their feed.
Yeah, because I'm assuming they're gonna eat a lot.
The ogres, I can confirm, do indeed eat a ton. Literally. As you kind of settle in for the night, kind of gathering yourself together, getting your stuff together, and kind of relaxing, doing your prayers as needed, I will go ahead.
Immediately checking on Drift and making sure she fucking signed the paperwork.
Which paperwork?
The
The work
contract for her airship.
Ah, yes, she did.
Is she awake?
She is not. She is asleep like the rest of the crew, as it is still late at night by this point.
Get her
so,
in the morning.
Yeah.
I will deal with her in the morning then, and I'm going to my room.
Alright. As you lot kind of head to your rooms for the night, you can apply that XP to your character sheets. As huh?
How much XP did we just get?
1,000.
1,000.
Oh Jesus!
Because it was 600 for the hags, and it would have been 1,000 if you had killed an extra 1,000 if you'd killed all the ogres. But as you did diplomacy, and I roll as half XP usually, or to a quarter, it's yeah. So
I'm close to a level up.
7,606 experience. I'm closer to another level up.
I'm 300 from a level up.
I told you that hag fight was no joke. You guys just handled it a lot better than than anything. And James took most of the hits, which is not normal, but
Like
still
you
worked
said.
out.
Before going to bed,
Yeah. What's up?
I'm going to cast a bunch of healing spells on myself to get me as healed up as possible.
Are you gonna be full health for the rest anyway?
I was say you're doing a long
No.
rest, right?
Long rests only heal 1 HP, remember?
Yes, but Cameron, the rules for this
No, yeah, not
Oh.
for this campaign. It's still it's next campaign where I'll make that more hardcore. It's right now it's just going to be it's full health.
We're not instigating it hard because that'd be hard on all the people that don't read all the rules. So we're kind of
Okay.
inching
Okay.
towards full rules.
Then I won't bother.
No,
You'll just be
yeah,
full health in the
well-
morning.
yeah. You're full health. The only time you'll need to use magical healing for that is if you have like an actual like an injury on the table that's like something that like is major that you're dying from. You got smacked with a spoon and just got basically a lot of bruises.
You got bludgeoned a bit. You'll be fine.
But you don't. It's not like you're stuck with a
Okay.
concussion. Yeah, you just basically
I also
you got some
bit by a fucking
sprains.
hydra, which healed up quickly.
Yep, thankfully it
Thanks to
wasn't
Grandpa.
poisonous. Yep. But as
I'm,
you two spend the night, James, give me a wisdom check. And then Alar. Well, actually, here we'll start with James. Is there anything besides that you want to do before you went to bed? Just to make clear.
Well, you just asked me for a wisdom check.
I did. Yes. No. You're good for that. I just want to make sure.
I would like to try to use some of my points of divinity.
Okay. On.
I want to make my intelligence equal my wisdom. I need skill points, and leveling up and getting them is a pain.
You're never gonna have skill points. You're a cleric.
How much divinity do you have?
I have 5. If that's not enough, then that's understandable. I will abandon this endeavor for now.
As you trying to focus, it is you are not able to figure out how to get the divine energy to apply to your own self to that level. As you continue to try and focus, it seems to not take any effect.
All right, it didn't work. Didn't lose.
I don't know if
divinity
zapping your
points,
brain with divinity to raise intelligence is a great starting point.
However, as you find yourself kind of lulled into sleep, as you kind of continue to focus on this and really try to focus your this divinity, trying to capture that feeling of when you channeled that avatar or the imagery of an avatar that had gone out. Trying to capture that, it almost causes you to black out, and as you get dizzy and find yourself finally going to sleep out shortly after, you begin to dream, and as you dream, you begin to see a strange storm coming as the vision around you begins to show a bunch of cities in the distance crumbling to ruin, sand and desert pretty much everywhere, hefty, almost like the Sahara Desert, as you see large, bright red and blue storms of what looks to be light and lightning flying around, kind of turning into cyclones and causing destruction everywhere they go, glassing over the sand that they seem to make contact with. These tornadoes seem to go and move about the continent all around you as cities seem to be demolished. As soon as these storms start to fade and you see these cities start to grow and grass seems to come back up on the Sahara from the desert vanishing away, the cities coming back from crumbled destruction, growing to be larger once again, you begin to see as the scene shifts to this darkened night and as large bony hands start to push themselves out of the ground, pulling the dirt away from themselves as thousands, millions of corpses seem to start pulling themselves up out of the ground and walking and gravitating towards these cities. Screams can be heard as the night goes on, and as you finally are broken from this vision, it comes to next morning. And we're going to come back to that in a moment as you break with a cold sweat. Alar, did you want to do anything during the night as James has his vision?
No, I, like a real man, march to my room, big muscles. I open my door, I close it when I get in. I walk over, and then I go limp as my armor falls off, and I fall into the bed and go to sleep.
I completely unconscious. As you pass out, finding yourself relaxing, your body seemingly almost calmed by the sounds of the trickling water outside, the babbling brook, the occasional swamp frog kind of croaking. As in the other room, James is having the worst nightmare he's ever had. It's cold.
One of the worst.
That's true.
This is only top of the time I showed up naked to the forge.
That actually happened. Wait, what? That wasn't a dream.
It's canon. He said it. It's happened.
But no, as the next morning comes, James, as you wake in this cold sweat coming out, Rollman seems to kind of already be outside or out and about, going about his business, heading off into the city. Alar, as you kind of come out to the rest of the group, the crew kind of starting to gather around as Grandpa starts to crack out what looks to be another dark cup of some sort of blackened liquid. Kind of smiling about, he looks over each as both of you come out of your rooms, sees how bad James looks, and looks to go, kind of leans down underneath one of the shelves, grabs what looks to be a very dark liquid in a glass jar, and pours some this liquid into the cup of what you realize is almost another cup of hot cocoa.
Am I getting like a whiskey hot cocoa here?
As he hands it to you, looking at Alar and remembering the response, he just hands Alar a cup of what looks to be, as you take a smell, Alar, it's just warm water.
Yep. Look, man, clean water,
Yes.
that's a luxury.
Yeah, it's true. James, as you take a sip, give me a fortitude save.
Oh,
I'll
Jesus.
let you know while he rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Alar looks around and just goes, so what happened yesterday? What happened?
Is this poison?
No, it is not. Well, technically it counts as poison by Dwarven effect. That is true.
So, okay, this has a +9, so I get an
It's
additional
why
2.
dwarves
That's
are
a
good with
15.
alcohol.
Yeah, as I say, technically by dwarf ruling, alcohol is poison.
That's a 15.
You immediately feel a very heavy buzz, James, as a very strong whiskey kind of passes your lips, as if you've just taken a 40-ounce bottle of Jameson in a single gulp. You feel a hefty, buzz going on right now.
Before I forget, I will be pulling out something and writing down that vision. Getting all the details out that I can, just to make sure that it's described.
I imagine Alar kind of watching over your shoulder as he thinks you're trying to write down everything that happened yesterday.
I asked and no one answers. I'm just looking at James like, oh, he's writing something.
Yeah. Alar,
And Alar gets to read
Yeah, I was gonna say, Alar, you
the
see...
horrifying thing I saw.
What language is it written in? This is very important.
I'd assume Dwarvish because that's your
Dwarvish.
native tongue.
If it was in common, Alar would have understood literally nothing, would have wondered what you were writing.
Nope, but you can understand Dwarvish. You can read it thanks to the belt.
I'm wearing the belt.
As you read over this Alar, give me a, let's call it, we'll call a sense motive to see if you can tell what James is trying to, why he's writing all this down.
If I roll low, am I just gonna think this is what happened yesterday? I'm gonna be really concerned.
Maybe.
Oh, that's decent.
What'd you roll? Oh, 13, not
13.
bad. As you kind of look over this, you don't remember, you don't remember cyclones of magic, but that would have been fucking awesome. That'd also explain maybe why your memory's not, maybe there's something about those, that happened with those cyclones that, caused your memory to be wiped, but you don't see any mention of you or Rolaman in there at all. Nor where anything about the 4 ogres that are also sitting at one of the tables now, eating what looks to be a large plate of hefty-looking meat.
Look, Alar, realizing he's probably been ignored, telling what happened to him, his ears slightly flop down and just goes back to drinking his water.
Fair. As James kind of writes this down, booze and state, Rencat comes over and sits down, looks over at Alar and goes, "So how much did you pay for my bounty before Captain No-Balls let us go?"
Alar paid bounty?
Oh,
I
sweetie.
sent 10,000 coin with SAR as what what they said to call them while they were merged.
Oh, alright, perfect. She kind of kicks over a lion's pelt on the ground to you that's got black fur, a very dark skin, and goes, the rest of it's in the freezer.
You got the dire lion mage.
Excellent.
Sure.
Alar would like to look at Rain, not related to what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Alar's gonna ask what's probably a basic question, Rocio, but Alar wouldn't understand. When Black Market open most places?
She kind of looks over at you and goes, "Well, it depends on the individuals. Diamond's Death is known for its early birds. There's the clan of dwarves that runs everything around here. Greybelt. Um,
Met great. Actually, no. Out of game, no. No, I did not, because I don't remember that.
they're big on their schedules. So everything's on schedule. You have a certain amount of hours you can buy time for your shops in their turf before the guards show up, and they have an agreement at the rotation with the guards. If the guards get to show up at a certain point, you're not out of there. They bust you. It's not hard. In fact, if you just get one of these schedules, which you can buy them pretty easily.
Ryan, could you take Alar to sell some things there and purchase and get Alar outfitted?
Can I buy myself something?
From whatever the change is of the 60,000 I'm sending.
I just want to go and experience some of the food. You have no idea what the black market food is like. All that nasty, healthy crap they serve at the taverns is always bland in taste. I tell you, it's the experimental stuff, the frying. Oh, oh man, I tell you, there's nothing better than hot oil and meat.
This sounds like something that the dwarves would come up with: frying food in the fats just to make it cook faster.
All right, boys.
Get back
This
to the
is
forge.
to see how this session goes. I'm myself. I'm not taking over.
She kind of looks at you and goes, huh? She looks at Alar and goes, yeah, I can take him in. I'm gonna get my nails done anyways, but I have someone for that won't come out of your pocket. In exchange that I do this, let's say I get all the food I can eat as long as he's taken care of.
As long as he has everything, as long as Alar has everything that they need, I don't care what happens to the rest. This money has been set aside specifically for getting them outfitted. I can't keep having them using just a stick in most of the fights.
She kind of smiles at that and goes, you've never met a druid. Alright. Well, Alar, that's,
For a druid, it'd be understandable. For Alar, I've seen them struggle a bit with just the stick.
Is he not a druid?
Oh, huh? No.
She just looks at over at Alar and goes, you're not part of, like, a grove?
Alar summons souls into body to become stronger.
Oh, so you're like a soul, one of them soul groves. Okay.
You talked to other me last night? Yes?
She nods.
Yes. Lost dead warrior. Warlord of some kind. Not sure much else.
Talks a lot, yeah.
Yes.
They all tend to.
But Alar make new breakthrough. Current soul not take over body.
I give Alar a thumbs up.
She just
Alar win.
shakes her head and goes, yeah, well, I'll take him into town after breakfast. Just load up the cart with whatever you want taken in. We'll take care of it. I'm gonna borrow one of your ogre fens to move the cart, because I think it'd be rather demeaning to have Alar strapped up.
I believe so too. I won't make Alar pull the cart unless they ever choose to, like they did yesterday.
Alar pull cart? Scratches his ear.
Started. The other one wanted to move
Warlord.
fast and said he'd pull.
Yes. Warlord like to feel strong. Yes.
So, but thank you. I will have it loaded up, and that's fine. Whichever one of them wants to go with you can go.
She nods and goes, okay. And she goes, Alar, make sure to talk to your master about what he wants done. Otherwise, I'm gonna go enjoy the fresh air and go figure out where Rolloman ran off to, because I don't trust that he's not doing something that I want to be involved and nosy about. And she kind of heads up above deck.
I'm just gonna look at James, not fully knowing what a master is, but as the only other person I was talking to. I do anything else in Black Market?
If you can sell off the cursed goods, use the money to get yourself outfitted, feed her for her fill, and make sure she doesn't get in trouble. That's all I ask.
Well, all easy except for last, but will do my best.
If she's gonna get in trouble, cut ties quickly. Just run. She can get away herself, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, yes, that make more sense. Yes.
So if she starts a fight there, I'd rather not see you imprisoned or dead.
Lar thinking back. Oh, well, actually, no. Lar doesn't remember Captain No Balls.
No, I just
Especially
know what
after
I've
the
just been
Captain
told.
No Balls incident last night.
So that would make me feel more confident in my ability, in my position in prison if I'm with her.
She just did that to the captain. I'd feel fine.
With that, I will make sure to go separate off the cursed goods and get them in the wagon and set the coin with Alar.
Yeah, do you want to take a second and list out what it is so that way Lar knows, Lar and the player knows what they're selling?
Justin, you have the list too, I think, right?
I just know it's 2 cursed items. I know what one of them is.
Yeah,
what
the
is
hand. We
it?
couldn't fully identify the bastard sword that was the large
We
bastard
know
sword that
it's
was
cursed.
cursed.
Okay.
Which is going to be hard
Those
to
are the
sell.
2 items, because the only other cursed item that I'd be willing to sell here, I would have sold to Greg.
No, that's fair.
But it got stolen.
So I'm going to say this after Alar leaves for Cameron, to be very clear. Fun fact, Alar was never told the gauntlets are cursed.
James would tell you not to put them on. Immediately.
Yeah, don't tell me it's cursed, because if I sell them thinking they're gauntlets, I won't be punished if something goes wrong.
Yeah, James will just simply say, don't touch either of these, just sell them.
Yes, not use merchandise. Yes.
Yeah. No,
and sell them for as much as you can.
As you agree and head up, kind of getting the cart set up, the 3 of them start to head out. James, what are you doing during or after these 3 head out towards town?
I'll take one of the other ogres with me to run into town to drop the pelt off.
Okay.
Of the Dire Lion Mage, then come back and do some planning for the forge.
Okay. Give me a diplomacy roll, to see, how much you get for the Dire Lion Mage. I mean, you know the base is 10,000, but we'll see if you get anything.
Can you pull more?
Yeah.
Well, I will pop the spell Friendly Face, which gives me some bonuses to this.
You know what's funny as shit? I'm about to send that too, because I get that as the fucking vestige I'm using. So I'll send a description.
Yeah, please do.
I already have it. Because with the Lars thing, I can cast every 5 rounds and it lasts 50 minutes, so I can just keep turning this on as I walk.
So I'm getting an additional +5 to this.
Okay.
And it lasts originally 10 minutes a level, so for me it'll last 3 levels.
So 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah, so...
Just pretty good duration, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is a 28.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, as you head towards there, you do catch Essa and manage to catch up on a bit of information with her. Learning a bit that the masked elders have supposedly been sighted and have built themselves a city. She mentions that the goblins, most of the goblin soldiers have retreated back towards the territory and are building up the city in town or in their town in their territory to basically grow and become its own port city. She also mentions as for that the Aboleth has already slain 3 other adventuring groups in the last day. 2 fully capable wizard groups and a group led by a barbarian Cyclops.
I saw the group of barbarian Cyclops.
You just saw him, man.
They were half a day's walk from here when I last saw them.
That's something to keep in mind. But she hands you 13,000 gold and smiles at you and goes, I assume it was alive when we got it, but I just couldn't keep it alive in transit. She just kind of gives you a wink and pushes the gold pieces over to you.
I give her a nod, and I'm also going to pass off the prophetic vision that I had to Essa, because Essa knows that my visions usually are right.
Your visions are weird.
They're weird, but they're accurate.
With that diplomacy, let me double check Essa's intelligence real quick. Been a while since I've had to... let me see. Party summary. There we go. Give me the party summary. Thank you. Goddamn. Alright, so that's a plus... Okay, so it's +3. I'm gonna roll something.
So was not dumb. Decently intelligent character.
She just kind of looks at you and goes... It's kind of interesting you mentioned that, given... The necromancers popping up everywhere.
Yeah, some attacked me the other night on my way back to the ship.
She nods and goes, I wonder if there's something coming before the necromancers. Does that mean the necromancers are going to succeed no matter what? And what comes before that would cause that? Makes me wonder. Maybe that maybe some big ritual that they're doing is supposed to fall because of this magic. They're gonna screw it up and cause a delay. Because it doesn't make sense that an arcane storm is the way you describe it. If it comes through, necromancers wouldn't be able to cast. And you just see she kind of looks very puzzled at the thought as she kind of thinks this out loud. But
I
she doesn't
passed
say
it off
anything
to you
else.
because I trust you to pass it off to someone who might be able
All
to
right.
better divine
It's
what's
time.
going
It's
on.
time for Utham to look into scientific necromancy.
Yep. She smiles and goes, I'll pass this on. As you kind of head back towards the ship. Now you said you wanted to plan for a forge in the ship, right?
I already have my forge in my room.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
So I just gonna plan out the hammer and my armor,
Okay.
as well as refine down the adamantine from the weapons that we had.
I'll take I'll take a profession if you have any like a profession smithing for it. Like weaponsmithing, armor smith, metalsmith, whatever. And then
I have craft for them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then a craft. So if you have proficient smithing and then craft, I'll take that, or a knowledge specific towards it, which I can't.
I
think
do
of
have
any.
profession smith.
Yeah, that goes proficient smith. Knowledge or con
20?
would be more. All right, so 20. Mm-hmm.
Yep, for the profession smith. And then I guess I'll go with craft weaponsmithing. For a 23.
Okay. And you're trying to make what to make sure?
I'm planning out the hammer.
Okay. All right. What are you gonna make the hammer out of?
Going over to the materials that I have
Mm-hmm.
on hand, I'm going to be using palladium, and I would be using a bit of gold as well, and tungsten for the handle. So palladium and gold head for the hammer, and then tungsten for the handle.
Okay. All right. As you do so, kind of throwing this together, you begin to kind of plan out and draw out the plans, building the molds. Everything seems to come out clean as you kind of get everything set up to make the materials, getting the bars out and drawing up the blueprints. Everything looks like it's ready to go. As you kind of spend the rest of the day kind of drawing this up and working on this. We'll jump over to Alar and Rain.
I will add
yes.
one thing before we switch over. My door for my room would be propped open, locking it to the ship so that people needed me, they could come pop in and talk.
Okay.
That's how the assassin got in.
All right. Well, with Grandpa around, I think that'd be a pretty scary fucking assassin.
If the assassin gets in, I'm meant to die at this point. That's my viewing.
It's after Yaki and then James. It's at that point. It's like, okay, maybe there's a pattern. I'm getting concerned. No,
Look, remember,
if
the problem-
I
we
get
won't be
assassinated, I'm
assassinated.
calling full bullshit and I'm bowing out for a bit.
Unless
Yes.
it's a player that does it, then you have a.
Zebril comes and kills you suddenly because fuck you for some reason.
Because he wants the goblin campaign.
I'm gonna use my divinity
Yeah.
to permanently curse Zebril. He's gonna have my physical stats.
Oh god. But yeah, alright, jumping over to Alar and Rain as you head into the black market. Alar, go ahead and give me a gather information. And what are you trying to learn?
I'm starting with the assassination order on James.
Okay.
I may as well. I believe in this dice. With my plus 15, that's a 30.
Okay.
I told you I
My
could do
spy
this.
master, my HR worker,
Your dog
and my
is spying
strongest
on you.
boy.
Yeah, right. Alright, as you head in, so kind of heading through the black market, Rain kind of takes you into the darker areas, heading past the main street block that is like the T-junction as you kind of head into the alleys. The city seems to become much more cramped as you get away from the T-junction. There are not really any roads, but just alleys that people seem to kind of walk through to get to their houses and such. As you kind of follow this deeper and deeper in and closer to the outer walls and away from the main street, you finally come to more of the houses that are patched together. Some that seem to have like stone base and then like wood built on top. Some that are just kind of missing chunks of them. Some that just have cloth kind of put up to hold and keep out the cold. As you kind of head into what looks to be what was at one point a small like fighting pit coliseum to fit maybe 100 people in, now well abandoned and much of the stonework destroyed and the beautiful statues completely broken out. Rain takes you in kind of as she walks you past and through the where the fighters used to kind of sit in before the fight just to kind of stand and wait there, waiting their turn to go into the pit. As she kind of takes you into this area, a young-looking snow dwarf with barely any peach fuzz on his face kind of smiles up at you, wearing very wealthy nobleman's clothing that you immediately pick up is probably worth at least 200,000 gold pieces worth as far as fabric alone. Just taking a look at the materials. As Rain kind of looks down and looks over at you and goes, and kind of leans into your ear and goes, so I'm gonna let you do all the talking here because these people don't much like me. So I'm gonna let them think I'm your employee. She just kind of gives you a wink.
Has she told me who we're meeting with here? Is this just the guide to get into the black market, or
All that she has told you along the way is that you are meeting with one of the members of the Grey Belts to get into to get the information you were looking for.
Okay. Let's see. Let me think of some do's and don'ts. I'm probably not gonna lean down because I'd probably be seen as insulting to a dwarf. I guess that's probably a good start. He looks like rich enough and a noble, right?
Yes, very wealthy.
I'd probably equate him closer to a chieftain then, I guess. I'll give him a little bow of respect for meeting him. That's probably as good a start as any.
He kind of, as you do, he looks up and kind of smiles and in Dwarvish goes, do you speak Dwarvish or do I have to speak Common?
Not naturally, but due to an item, I currently speak Dwarvish.
As it works. I'm understanding that you're here to meet my father. For information, I only ask that you understand my father is a very old man. He is hard of hearing and also hard of healing. He used to serve an evil god, so if you are someone who can sense auras, just so you know, you will sense something horrid coming from him. He is no longer in that business, but unfortunately he has been cursed to forever bear that sentiment. Beyond that, we do buy items here, but do understand that only the highest of ranked items are allowed to be sold to our family. Otherwise, Rain will be expected to take you to the actual market itself. Here is the House of Information of the Grey Belts.
Possible to get an item that I don't know the rarity checked?
If you have an item that is worth our interest to go fetch, and you have the gold to pay for it, we are always happy to hear an offer out. No offense will be taken, as long as it's not as long as it's within the means of understanding of our capabilities. We are not a small group of thieves. We are an international organization.
I'll just nod, and I'll ask my last question. Does your father prefer a blunt business, or...
He is not a man to mix words as far as kindness and happiness. He served during many the first Venkos rising when they came to power and fought many a koboldkin in his younger days. He's not one for the modern concept of kindness, as dragons have put on it, as he says.
I can just talk like myself then. Excellent.
He nods and goes, and I will warn, beyond that, he does drink quite a lot. Don't accept anything he hands you. As you see him kind of go to lift up a lever, and the chain, or the very heavy metal barred doors kind of start to lift up and pull into the door above. As they do, kind of coming to a settle with a hefty clang, he kind of ushers for you to go in, up the stairs, and into the center of what is a fighting ring, where you see a massive... and hefty-looking old dwarf. Let me see if I can get my thing up for it. Give me a second. But as you walk up, this hefty smell of blood kind of almost immediately fills your nostrils. As you look over and see what I can only describe, and let me find it because my image decided not to load because whoever posted it decided to delete it, and so that upsets me. There he is. Alright, I've got a similar image. A very almost balding with hefty blue glowing tattoos across his face, a long gray or snowish white and gray beard. The sides of his head seem to be slightly braided, and he looks at you with dead, almost grayed eyes. There's no sense of emotion as you look at him. The markings, though they look to be a tattoo, do, as I mentioned, glow bluish, almost with a faint light to him. And you see, as you look at his face, he looks like he has many scars across his face that have healed to a degree that now almost look like more like wrinkles. He seems to stand about 3 feet tall. As he kind of stands, his armor looks to be mostly what you'd expect an average soldier's armor to be. Simple, like mix of scale and chunks of plate kind of attached onto it. And he looks to carry a dagger onto both sides of his hip.
I mean, a proper warrior. A lot of respect to that. He'll just nod to himself and walk up. I understand you're the one I'm meeting with for information. And I'll wait, because I was told he was hard of hearing, and I want to see if that's true.
He looks at you and goes, "You don't speak very well, do you, youngin'?"
Afraid not.
Speak up. I can't hear a damn thing. You gotta speak like you're a sergeant yelling at a new recruit, youngin'. I really can't understand anything you say, and you speak so terribly, I can't read your lips.
I'll nod, I'll take a deep breath. And I'm not actually...
Yeah, you don't have to shout, you're good.
Okay, I'll downstairs. He'll let out like a bellowy, like really work his chest to let out a much thicker, like harder voice. I understand a meeting with you for information, yes?
Oh, you want information. Alright, what do you want to know?
I've heard you prefer him blunt, so I'll be straightforward. There's an assassination contract on my boss. I'm interested in knowing why, and from where.
Well, I can help you, but I need to know who your boss is.
Leader of the Ironheart Merchant Company goes by James.
He kind of chuckles at that as a little spittle comes flying out and hitting the like kind of dusty, sandy Coliseum floor. As he goes to sit over at a hefty wooden chair off to the side, kind of leaving you standing still in the center of the fighting pit. As you kind of look about, the light coming in almost seems to kind of give an unnatural shine, kind of making it so the Coliseum fans, or where the fans would normally sit, it goes almost obscured by the shadows. You can see figures kind of sitting up there and moving about. The occasional whisper seems to be heard, but none of them seem to do anything as this old man kind of sits down and goes, "You're the Ironheart Merchant Company. Oh man, you're a lot of really fucking not the brightest lot. You pick fights with everyone you can, and just anybody that's the biggest fish on the farm, I assume."
To be fair, I just got hired.
Well, your boss has got the brains of a numbskull. Captain Nobles has got more brains between his legs than your captain does.
The name's already spread, that's awesome.
You see Rain slight giggle in the background as she's standing off to the side where the door, or kind of by the door. He continues and goes, "I'll be honest with you, youngin'. He's probably dead. But if you're curious, it's about 5,000 gold pieces if you want that kind of information. You're barking up a tree you don't want to fight."
Well, I'd normally haggle down out of game, but I'm not going to do that with the guys that's technically as I'm running the entire black market here. I'm just going to fork over the 5K.
As you kind of go to hand it to him, he kind of puts his hand up, and a few moments go by as you watch something seems to pick the gold coin pack or going up and seems to walk off with it as it floats in the air. And he goes, "All right, I know you wouldn't cheat me, and lie to me under this standard, otherwise you'd be dead by now. That or one of my nephews here would be able to tell you were giving me falsehood. So I'm gonna make it clear. That big old fella y'all ran into, name goes by Oknar Blackbone Og. He's the only fella with that kind of coin to move it. Turns out, old Jamesy boy, the one who runs your company, well, his pa, well, he's got a brother. Brother worked up some debts, and you know how these things work. When you can't collect from one, you go collect from the next. Fortunately, James and his uncle are both on the chopping block, and so is his cousin. I hear he's being hunted in the Frost Giant lands by a group of snow dwarves there. And Oknar doesn't really care too much otherwise. He wants his money back. And we're talking massive sum. And I'll be honest, I think the fucking he thinks for a second. You see as he kind of stutters for a moment and goes to grab a drink from his side, and downing it immediately, and then kind of offers it out to you.
Well, when he goes to take a drink, I know he's not going to speak because the one time Alar knows he can actually talk and not interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Alar's going to go, how much debt could one guy possibly build up? And how?
He kind of goes to sit, kind of holds the drink out to you, waiting to see if you'll take his flask.
I'll put my hand out to reject it. I'll say, not during information, but maybe after.
Whatever. You youngins don't know how to enjoy life, anyways. You'll be dead by the end of the week, as we always expect. Where was I? Oh, yeah, the debt. Something around I don't know, 2 billion gold pieces worth. Yeah, had a job to smuggle a bunch of items, high-end items from the Toth. Oknar had trusted him to do it. Apparently, the guy had some good position, was going to take the items, going to rebuild them, take the curses off them, and make them into valuable items, even higher value. You know, Toth goods are all cursed and have issues. Apparently, this guy's a smith and capable, or at least his family was. Oknar apparently got screwed as someone attacked a ship. Ship went missing, and that was the end of that. When it comes to the debt, Oknar got mad, blamed the poor snowbeard that he was, and now James is on the chopping block along with his cousin. I think his cousin's some fella by the name of Eider. He's got some cool power, I tell you that, though. He'll be worth something. He'll be worth a fortune as a slave, so I wouldn't be surprised if Oknar hunts him down personally.
Alara understands we're speaking frankly, and doubting this guy cares if he's willing to sell out the whole thing about Black Bones for really a pittance for what the is probably worth. Alara's going to be like, wouldn't it be cheaper to pay to have a guy killed and then pay it back? I don't think it's possible to pay back.
Years of service, slavery, your kin. There's plenty of ways to make that money back. It's just gonna take a few generations, but Blackbone Hog's got nothing but time.
He's got to have enemies, right? There's got to be people that don't like dog.
He nods and goes, "I'm standing right here."
Oh.
I wouldn't. You think I'd give you this information for only 5,000 gold pieces? Do you know how scary that individual is? That man's capable of raising an armada that can take on a nation.
I was kind of wondering why. Although I'll admit, tribal life doesn't make the best understanding of money.
Well, put it this way, in a tribal perspective, he's got more pull than the Grand Chief of Chiefs amongst his people. He could pull every warrior amongst all his people within a second, a snap of their finger, for the amount of loot that they'd be promised. You don't turn, and when you go against a man like that, it's a reputation thing. That's all I can tell you from my understanding. That and Clan Haria has got a thing about personally fucking anyone they can.
I just realized this is going to span both parties, not just because of Eider, but because Hunter's part of the same clan in someday. Oh, God.
The giant clan, yep.
Of course he picked the warrior clan. Um, Alar's just kind of scratch at his chin and think. Just go. So avoid or kill. Kill's not very likely.
Couldn't kill Blackbone Og. I've done it, and he came back a month later. I don't know how. Killed
Undead?
his crew. We burned his body. I crushed the bones into a fine powder, snorted them up and everything.
What called? Have understanding. Lich. Wrong word? Maybe wrong word. Undead come back. Big undead.
Ever heard of this thing called a lich? All I can tell you.
Learned recently. Casters sacrifice many lives. Revives them on death when enough are sacrificed.
His men were dead long before we killed him. We couldn't kill him quick enough. Oh, I know that Zilpip fella could do it. After all the way he did. No. I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't fight. If you're picking a fight with Blackbone Og, you don't win that fight. He's got some curse about him or something that lets him keep coming back. He's died 17 times in my lifetime. I'm responsible for at least 4.
So not death of person, but death of character. Could work with this. Maybe.
Okay. If you're willing to take him on, good luck to you.
No take on. Ruin reputation.
He smiles and chuckles at that and goes, "What else you want to know?"
Nothing else thinking he'd you directly for. Just have some items to sell, but was told by a son probably wouldn't be interested, not high enough rank. Although, don't know what the sword does.
Not my son. That's my, you see his eyes kind of look up in the sky for a second as he's seems to be doing some arithmetic in his head and kind of looks back at you and goes, 16th grandson, generation-wise?
I'm his great.
He looks like a snowbeard, right?
Yep.
Great.
He looks like a very old snowbeard.
Great granddaddy.
Oh. Boss James only live a few hundred years. Whatever.
The average snow dwarf only lives a few hundred years.
And so, if you're done asking, the door behind you is still open.
Yeah, I mean, I'll head back out because I don't think if he hasn't looked at the sword at all, I doubt he's interested. So I'm just gonna head out.
He doesn't say anything as you kind of head out, heading out after with Rain behind you. The young dwarf at the front or at the door, kind of you hear as he hits the mechanism, pulling it down as the door starts to go shuddering down. Rain looks over at you and kind of smiles and goes, "Well, that was enlightening. I thought I was gonna be killed."
No, let Rain die.
You didn't count all the gray belts in there.
I did.
Oh, rat bastards. She just kind of she whispers under her breath as you kind of head out. She starts to kind of guide you to another area, heading further into the back streets. You find yourselves you can kind of see in the distance over the roof, just slightly, the schools off in the distance. After you you get to this really wide open, what looks to be previously a large open bathhouse, now is completely broken down, wood kind of tossed about. The stone seems to be most of the carving seem to have been kind of cracked and broken. The top of it seems to have been completely fallen in on itself, but inside you see a very loud, or you can hear the very loud market going about as people are talking and making jokes, running about, different races of all sorts, even goblins and hobgoblins kind of walking throughout the inside the market as they kind of head in. The smell and kind of the sound of burning fire kind of be heard from coming inside from inside as you head in. The smell of cooking food on the air, baked goods as well as fried goods. As you see Rain kind of light up as you head in, she kind of guides you to a couple of different stores, but kind of going through and looking at a couple of shops until she finally stops on one. As you see very wizened looking, kind of grayish skinned humanoid with it looks to be only about 6 foot tall with a large kind of circle around their chest, kind of small wings at their back, and some strange ink-like tattoos all across their face. They have a shaved head and slightly pointed ears as they look up at you. As they do, you do notice they don't have pupils. Their eyes are completely clear, as they seem to be wearing what looks to be almost like a couple of bits of silk that are just kind of tossed over them, minus leaving their chest kind of wide open. Their stand seems to have no goods, and they just seem to be sitting there looking about as people kind of ignore their stand altogether. Rain kind of walks up and smiles and sets down a single, what looks to be talisman, or rather, sorry, token with a red rose on it. And kind of slides it over to the guy. As he kind of looks at it, flips it over to what now looks like a black rose of the same design, and kind of pushes it back to her. As he steps back from his stand, pulls the table apart, and guides you two into the tent, where you see a very large and fat-looking troll, painted head to toe gold, smiling, and goes, "And what can I do for you, my lovely succulent gnoll?" "I have not seen a gnoll," as he speaks in common at first. "I haven't seen a gnoll." "Oh, wait, you don't understand common well, or you don't speak common well. Apologies." He kind of switches over to a primitive and goes, "Me understand you well. Tongues can be quite hard to speak if not given book." As he holds up a leather-bound book with a bunch of what looks to be arcane runes across it.
I'm just gonna nod, only half understanding the common, but fully understanding the primitive. Thank you. Native tongue, much easier.
What you want?
Here to buy gear, selling items that unsure what they do. Usual bit.
Bad juju items, yes, I understand.
I kind of cock my head at bad juju. Never hearing that before.
Kind of looks at you and goes, "You got a evil, cursed sword of weakness." And kind of takes a look at the sword at your side, or at the cart immediately, and goes, "Makes you weaker and reduces anything you do to all the when you go and attack someone, all that severing and bloody gore, all less. Not great unless trying to knock out an opponent." He takes a look.
The reverse of Energia.
And he goes, 1,500 gold piece. He kind of looks at the gauntlets and goes, "Gauntlets of fumbling. Make you, what do you say, not good at jumping. Give you...
Make you strong, but make you bad at things.
Make you strong, but hands.
1,500 to 3,000 gold pieces for both."
So out of game. I don't know what the sword was worth, and I don't think we ever got it. But I know that's more than what the fumbling gauntlets are worth. So I think this isn't bad overall.
I'm leaving it up to you. James told you to sell it for as much as you possibly could.
Just go for it.
If you feel like that's as much.
I'm not doing selling price to the man covered in gold. He is an ultimate merchant troll. I don't know if I can contend.
I know this troll personally.
Oh, that's weird.
He, as you nod, you watch as his servant, a hobgoblin, completely dressed in leather, assless chaps, full gimp suit leather, kind of comes walking over, takes the money, and then goes back to his, or kind of takes the items and sets down the money and goes back to his seating position on a very large velvet cushion off to the side. As the troll looks back at you and goes, "What else?"
Looking for less common axes, other items that may catch interest.
Cursed?
Well, depends on curse.
Kind of looks
as
at
long
you.
as useful, could deal with some curses.
Can also remove some curses.
I got something in. I got something in. He looks at you for a second and goes, that is a bad juju item, but if remove cursed, quite effective."
What bad juju do?
weakens you a lot. Takes your experience, takes your understanding.
I'll just nod. But he said it was remove cursable, so I'm interested. We'll see.
And you see as he kind of goes to reach behind him and starts to scratch at his back a little bit, and as he pulls out this large looking item, and let me see if I can. I think this actually already has artwork for it associated. It does as 5e equipment. It doesn't as 3.5. All right. As he pulls out this large great axe that looks to have a blackened blade of obsidian, the rest of the item, all the metal bits looks to be almost like the same blackened metal, except for the highlights that look to be made of iron and gold. The handle looks to be some sort of very thick leather that's quite tightly bound. And he goes, dwarves call it, and he speaks in dwarvish, life drinker.
I think I know this item.
And goes, killed last friends, and last user was not quite capable.
Interested. What sell for? Because strong item, but curse bad juju bad.
40,000 gold. As he kind of hefts it in his hand and swings it, still laying on his side, otherwise not really moving much. You watch as he cuts at the air with it, and as though it does. You hear these slight, like as if he was cutting the wind. Normally, where you'd hear that kind of swiping of the wind, it sounds like a light scream every time it seems to swipe in the air.
May I sense motive if he actually thinks it's worth that much?
Yeah, go
Not
ahead.
a nat 20, but it was close. 19 plus 2, so 21.
He, as you kind of take a look at it, he seems to look at the item only as valuable based on the price that he understands it for. It seems, from what you can gather, he's probably pricing at what a little bit of a profit of what he bought it for.
So haggling, I'm probably not going to go well at that point.
I mean, you can't really tell what the price is though that he bought for. We'll state that doesn't seem to give off any other understanding.
I mean, I won't need a new weapon for God knows how long if I get this. Cameron, do I gamble? Do I try to talk it down? I have a really high diplomacy.
This is up to you. I will not give you any advice here because you are a better D&D player than me at this point.
Also, I'm not using any traditional items from for any of my artifacts, so I will mention this is not going to just do what it does for your own notes from the base book. Okay, I figured I'd make that clear in case you're thinking that. I will say the curse you're expecting is the same.
I figured it wasn't the base item because fucking that'd be a scam for what the base one does. The thing is not that good, especially with the negative being so fucking bad.
Yep.
35,000 and looking for other items we'll buy from you.
He takes a second, kind of looks at you and goes, 38,000. An Ironheart merchant company signs contract to buy exclusively from my black market.
Exclusively when nearby or only your black markets ever? I'm just gonna ask.
If I have stalls, you can't buy from anyone else there except for my people. If I don't, I can't force market.
Can agree to that if stall has fair price and has what looking for.
Acceptable. And you see him kind of put his hand out.
I'll put my hand up.
As he shakes your hand, you
Like,
feel a magic kind of flow into you as a pact suddenly above seems to sign itself with the terms that you just agreed to.
I only make this deal, and I'm going to say a second for Cameron, because Cameron was saying he's going to avoid black markets, and I'm fine with being limited to this guy if they have what I'm looking for and they charge a fair price.
Yeah, you
And I
can.
don't mind that either. And legitimately, I don't mind going into the
Also,
black market to now
the
that we
fair
have a
price
contact
thing,
there.
the fair price is subjective. That's really easy to wiggle out if I have a good argument.
You can add a life drinker to your inventory for right now. It does do the same curse effect, and for the time being, with the effect on it, it is the same item until you have it removed.
Yeah, I'm not using this motherfucker until it's uncursed. I don't want to go down to level 1.
I will say your 38,000 gold does also seem to almost pull out of your sack disappearing.
Yeah, so I'm down to 20k between the sale and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll just ask him because now I'm limited to him. Anything else interesting or weird could use?
Metals, shiny things, but nothing of interest at this point, unless you have something of mention. No items that have been brought in of notable clients.
I'll just nod. I think everything else I need can be bought legally. Looking at my list that I made, I'll just nod and say happy dealing with you, and I'll get ready to head off.
He nods.
We'll probably be back at some point.
As you kind of turn and head back out to the tent, Rain kind of follows after, and Rain kind of smiles as you walk out and goes, "I can't believe you managed to survive and didn't manage to get charmed. His charm spells are flippin' scary, almost as good as Greg's."
When speakers primitive get along well with other speakers primitive, easy to come to understanding with each other.
Whatever you say, I didn't understand a damn thing that you and that overweight troll were talking about.
Calls cursed items bad juju, apparently.
She looks at you and goes, "Wait, what?
What?
You know that's an actual troll thing."
Is it?
Yeah, if they believe something's cursed, it makes it more cursed.
Yes, but also told me easy to remove curse.
Yeah, by troll standards. The same creatures who can just think that something's not there and it suddenly can dissipate if they're powerful enough.
Have troll remove curse on ship.
How the hell did you manage to get something like that? Those cost castles.
Wasn't there for deal. Told about nice man named Crusader.
I mean, Crusader, I know of as a troll that used to serve alongside one of the adventuring crews that were trying to investigate Moors. Huh. Wonder if it's the same guy.
Yeah, we do still have that giant fucking scroll because we never used it.
That's what I was talking about.
She kind of looks at you and kind of sighs and goes, "Alright, well, is there anything else you wanted to go and get to?" As she kind of looks about.
I'll send a basic list of what I need to buy in a minute.
Okay.
From, normal shops.
Okay. As those two kind of head into the shopping district, we're gonna jump back over to you, James, for a moment. Yeah.
If you want to make an adjustment to the blueprint,
okay,
this isn't going to be as big. It's just that I realize that I can melt down the armor and adamantine, and I would rather make sure I use a mixture of the center of the hammer, the core of it, will be tungsten. The outside will be that instead for the shaft and the head.
Okay, so making sure I understand this right. So you want the tungsten as the core of the hammer and the core of the handle of the hammer.
Yes, the exterior will be bronze for the handle. That way it's a little easier to work. Any sort of enchantments in, because then the tungsten itself isn't enchanted. It's the metal around it.
Plus tungsten core for the hammerhead. Okay. So I've got palladium and gold and tungsten for the hammerhead, and tungsten for the core, and bronze for the exterior for the handle.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So you're not using the adamantine, you said, at all. Just making that clear.
I'm gonna save that for armor.
Okay. Uh-oh. Alar's typing something?
I'm about to be
Part of my
told
list
you
was
get
things I was selling, so I'm modifying my buy list.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, as you start to work away at it, James, go ahead and give me a. Are you planning to pour and start working on this, or are you just planning to keep the blueprints going?
I'm trying to make sure the blueprints are good enough to keep the DC low.
Okay.
So with those changes and keeping everything good, and then I have to figure out if I'm pouring any divinity into this is also something James is currently pondering, since this is going to be the weapon he wants to stick with from now on.
Mm-hmm.
So I also had a question of, would I be able to place one of the hammerheads with more of an axe-like head? Or a pick?
Yeah, it's a. I think that's a dwarven warhammer technically.
Then it'll be going that route instead of just two flat heads. Makes it so that I have slashing or piercing instead of just bludgeoning. So I can flip between them when I need to. Because there are things that are entirely resistant to bludgeoning.
Alright. I will say, just for your own note, tungsten is extremely difficult to work with as a smith. So you are
I
working with
have
very.
500 pounds of it, so I can practice after I complete the blueprint.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, no, I've got your blueprint down. I've got your rules for it.
Once that's done, knowing I have never worked with tungsten before, I will grab out some pounds of it and start practicing.
Alright, give me some craft weaponsmithing and profession smith rolls. Let's say two of each.
All right.
Interesting. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. We'll come
Because
back.
I have a weapon now, my armor's still good, so I'm just buying auxiliary gear. And if I get a circular precision, I think I'll have a plus 19 to diplomacy.
Smith is a 14 for the first one, and for the second, profession smith, that's a 20, and then weaponsmithing is a 20 for the first one, and a 16 for the second. As I start training to use tungsten.
Okay. As you begin to kind of work at it, it takes it's gonna take you the rest of the day to pretty much kind of work away at this. Tungsten, as you find, is extremely difficult to smelt. And as you learn out of character, it brings the DC to 20 whenever it's used automatically, regardless of what you're using with it, because the material is just difficult to heat up. Because surprisingly, tungsten's one of the hardest metals to heat, which I didn't know about, and it's apparently a whole. As people myths across Reddit have stated, it's a whole lot of nope.
I mean, it's part of the thing. Its melting point's incredibly high, so...
So yeah, it will take, as you kind of work on it, you realize it's going to take you literally a day or two to meld just the tungsten to shape of what you'd want to work with as you kind of work about it. But as...
This was planned to be a long-term project anyways, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
You start practicing on it, yeah. Alright, we'll jump back over then while you begin to work at it, continuing to keep your door open and being able to talk to your crew.
Dwarven cursing happening occasionally when a piece gets fucked up.
As any good tradesman will do. Jumping back over to Alar and Rain, as you head in to town, Rain kind of takes you about, looking at the items on the list, and kind of smiling at it as she looks at what you've written down and goes, well, we can try the magic item shop for most of this. Imagine the gold.
That's
The golden, yeah, the golden flame will probably be our best bet. You're gonna love it. You're never gonna guess who runs that place.
My ears perk up.
Bali Greybelt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's not as old as you think.
Wait. You said Bali?
Yes.
This guy that put Quest for Missing Hammer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Do
She
we know what
knows.
hammer do?
She looks at you and goes, it's a smithing hammer of his. It just basically makes his the things he crafts a lot better.
So Cameron, I don't know what you're thinking.
You steal the hammer. If you find it and keep it, that's fine.
I would say we could go find the item and just keep it. We could just say it's not worth the price he's offering and just keep the thing.
But she kind of heads, starts walking in towards it. As you head towards the T junction and saying out of the side streets, kind of back towards Main Street, buildings becoming more and more nicer looking. The little back alley is becoming cleaner and a little more well taken care of the closer you get to the main street. You finally come to the T junction where you see the Golden Flame magic item shop itself. It seems to be only about half the height of an adult red dragon. Yes, this is an actual apparently specified height. And the building itself, otherwise, is pretty much mostly just stone with a lot of with runes carved into the stonework as you kind of walk past it. You can read Dwarvish, right, Alar?
The belt lets me perfectly read and speak Dwarvish as long as I'm wearing it.
As you read this, you read on the stones are a mix of multiple spells, all very minor spells that basically conglomerate to allow this business to get up and walk away, like
Wait,
Howl's Moving Castle.
I have to. So I equate it to something
Fucking
else because it's so small. I equate it to Baba Yaga in the Walking Cabin.
I mean, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Baba Yaga.
So I'm looking at this and like, is it evil cannibal cabin from Legend?
You see, Rain just kind of looking at you, kind of seeing the hesitation, goes, "Did the Grey Belt scare you that bad?"
Why cabin walk?
I've never seen it walk. I don't know what you're reading.
I point at the ruins. Cabin walk.
Those are magical runes that probably protect it from fires and explosions.
No, and read Dwarvish, read runes, make building walk when needed.
It's probably because the whole city probably can walk or something, I'd imagine. I have no idea. Maybe you should ask the owner.
I'll walk in and I am absolutely going to ask.
As you walk into the very simple open building, it's what looks like it has one door behind the counter that looks to go, as it's open, looks to go into a small house kind of set behind it. A young-looking snow dwarf kind of sits behind the kind of counter on a stool, smiling as he does so. His shelves seemingly filled with a bunch of random bits and bobs of different items, and he goes in kind of dwarvish as he kind of looks you up and down and goes, "Ah, you have the belt for dwarvish kind, so you can speak dwarvish."
Yes, I can.
I appreciate that.
Before business, can I ask a question?
Of course, I'm always happy to answer what I can.
Why is your building able to walk?
I mean, why is your building not able to walk?
I mean, I don't have a building.
That answers your question.
Oh.
You want to keep a building, you want to be able to run away when danger comes.
Aye, it's a normal dwarvish tradition.
Good idea. Me make walking war building later. But that's besides the point.
He kind of smiles and goes, now, to your business at hand, what can I do for you?
Here to look for a few items as I take out the list written in Dwarvish. Because since I'm apparently dealing with dwarves all day, why not, right? Was told these are what they're called. Easier to just hand list and see what you have.
He looks, it kind of takes a list and kind of puts on some very thick reading glasses.
Ignore good food, that for later.
Yes, good food is important in any shopping trip, in my experience. Let's see. Gauntlets of Monger power?
Gauntlets that make stronger.
Well, is that ogre? God, you've got the handwriting of the same color as my wife.
I hold up my knoll hands.
We don't like to keep... You do realize to make those, you have to actually chop off the hands of an ogre.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not great for business around these
Look
parts.
at the ogre that's following you.
Oh, no, he's standing outside, I assume. No, acting as any good bodyguard would.
Look, I'm not gonna do it, but Alar's thinking about it.
Circlet of Persuasion? Never even heard of one of those things. Bags of holding, yeah, we got a couple of those. We got bags of coining, bags of fooding, bags of holding,
Ooh.
bags of crafting. Depends on what you need.
What's a bag of crafting?
Just basically let you store your crafting kits in it without having to worry about being in your bag of holding. It has enough room to store a crafting kit of each kit, from my understanding.
How much bag of coining hold?
It depends on the model. Type 1s are about 500 pounds, and we have all the way up to Type 2s right now that hold up to 1,000 pounds.
How much are each?
Roughly about 10,000 gold pieces and about 15,000 gold pieces.
I'll nod. I'll like write on my little list, maybe for bags of coining because I want to find all the prices first.
Amulets of health. I got an amulet of health a weaker kind. We got a couple of them come in from a couple of goblins a while back. Get you one of those. I don't know about this level that this guy is referring to, but yeah, we can look for something. He kind of looks at it and goes, cloaks. I don't. Listen, there was a guy who came through here a while back. He was wearing a cloak, or he had a cloak to sell. Every time he tried to hand it to someone, they fell over. I don't deal with cloaks anymore.
Oh, I heard story about that cloak.
He nods and goes,
Appreciated by nobles, sold for thousands.
yeah, wasn't great, I'm gonna be honest. But I can get you one of these amulets. I think I got one of them in the back. It'll cost you roughly about 2,000. Yeah, about 2,000 gold pieces, I think.
I'll just nod.
It's about the best I can do. Yeah, the disc is kind of cracked in half, so it works, but
I mean,
like, as a magic
I'm
smith,
sure
I can only do so much.
Laura's just thinking I could just get James to refurbish it later.
He goes, that'll be 2,000 gold pieces on top, and that's pretty much all I got. I can't really help you. The good food I'd offer, but the wife cooks about as well as as grand as that amulet there is going to be a top of the line.
I'll pay the 12,000 for the bag of coining type 1 and the amulet.
He takes it and goes, if you're looking for good food though, there's a stand I can recommend. They like to stick around. Mostly they've been sticking around Mini Thanks' bar recently, but if I'm gonna guess, they're probably gonna head up towards the Breathless Spirit. They walk around. They call themselves something like KF Crab, something like, I don't know. They walk around. They sell fried crab, from what I've seen.
God damn it! Of course, DM. Yeah, I'll conclude my business. I'll say thank you, and I'll look to Ray and go, crab?
She nods and goes, crab.
Alright, I guess we're going on an adventure.
Alright.
KF crab.
As you
we
two...
have 1,000 gold left.
Yeah, as you two kind of head off, getting yourselves a nice, comfortable meal for about 5 gold pieces apiece, which is actually quite expensive given the average inn meal. But getting a full bucket of crab, literally of crab meat already taken out and fried. Ogre? Huh? That's not assuming the ogre.
I'm asking Shasta if you fed the ogre. That's all I'm wondering.
I mean, we were told we could burn every dollar while we were out here.
All right.
That's true.
So probably, yeah.
Okay. As you go and kind of get a couple of them, you spend another 20 gold on the ogre, who kind of downs about 4 buckets himself. You lot eat until you're filled, enjoying through the food. The individual kind of walks away. You see their scaled hide and their kind of tinier size with their greenish scales. Makes you kind of wonder what kind of, if they're dragonkin or just a kobold. They look to be kind of simple looking in the face, like slightly dumber looking almost. Hate to say it, but sometimes you can just see it. As you walk away, kind of enjoying yourselves as you head back to the ships, I assume.
Yeah, that concludes my business.
Yeah, alright.
I'm assuming I'm just eating from a crab bucket while we walk to the ship.
Yep. As the 3 of you kind of head back to the ship, finally getting there, kind of smiling, with the smiles on your faces, well fed. Grandpa, who also seems to kind of catch up to you lot on the way out, as you kind of run into him at the gate. He has also, what you can see, looks to have bought a lot of fresh crab, although none of it fried. Looks to all be still in the shell and just a bunch of crabs sitting inside.
I'll just look at Grandpa, look at the crowd, and just as we're walking. Want some?
He kind of smiles as he takes some and tries it, and as you kind of enjoy it, walking back to the ship with smiles on your faces, you finally get there as the crew seems to be somewhat quiet throughout the day. You can hear James down below hammering away, the occasional dwarven curse as you kind of enter or head down below deck. Otherwise, it seems.
Not fucking hard ass fucking metal too hard to eat. Why the fuck are you
So-
so? Ugh!
Do I know where James put the giant roll of remove curse? Because I can use wizard items with this vestige.
I assume it's on James's person, or it would have been on the cart and then removed and then left down at the bottom
down
deck.
with merchandise.
Yeah.
I doubt it's on him because you described it as a 6-foot long roll of leather.
Yeah,
so-
it's down in merchandise.
Which would be on the third deck with the rest of the animals and such, where
Oh.
the cart was stored.
I'm off to get Max uncursed once I head downstairs.
Yeah, as you head down below, kind of item in hand, Grandpa kind of walks, kind of heads over to the kitchen, and starts cooking up things as he kind of looks over into the room, seeing you, James, and goes, Rollman's not back, but Alara is, and so is Rain.
Thank you, Grandpa. I
I'll-
trust Roland to come back when he's ready. We're gonna be here for a few days while I work out how to mold this stupid fucking metal. Duh!
I'm gonna call down the
Smack it.
corridor. Alar, explain info gathered when not angry and smithing.
I'm not angry. I'm very calm, actually. This is how dwarves smith. Stupid fucking metal.
Alar, understand every curse word you're saying now.
Good. You know I'm calling it a son of a... in dwarvish. Just the biggest string of expletives you could hear.
I gotta ask DM because it's your world, but I feel like with it being a female-run society, would son of a bitch be like a serious insult?
Yes.
I just
Extremely.
blink, and I just mumble, "Lucky not pointing that at saying that to me." I wander off to get the thing remove cursed.
Yeah, as you go below, as you kind of head below with a life drinker in hand, you see as you kind of head down to the bottom deck, and a smiling face kind of seems to pop out of the darkness as the bottom deck is almost eerily dark. None of the torches lit, no light seems to be about, and as you kind of come down the stairs, you can hear the potion crane kind of making their little noises as they walk about. Not making much, but the sounds of the occasional like step into a breaking or the snap of a leaf. But you see in the darkness a creepy and eerie smile that seems to be at the other end of the deck, the bottom of the deck, kind of staring at you.
Well, they already see me. Can the Lar help you? Why on ship?
You hear for the briefest of moments in Dwarvish, "Oh, I'm early. Next time." And then the face seems to disappear into the shadows.
No, come back. Want to know why here?
As you go kind of like slightly take a couple steps forward, you see it seems as if the figure is gone as you kind of look about.
Okay. Have a good day, I guess.
As you head over to the pile of merchandise, the chests that are kind of set aside with goods in them, kind of overflowing, a couple of art pieces, some gems tossed about, the large scroll and the leather kind of pushed into a corner, some dust gathering on it.
Yeah. I'll pull out the oversized leather
That's
scroll.
just far enough away from the mute from the cows to be good.
Didn't
We had
you?
those buffalo?
Didn't you sell?
No, we
the
never
buffalo?
sold them.
I thought you did sell the buffalo.
No.
Oh,
No, I
So what?
refused to. Out of the,
oh okay.
we sold the piglet.
That's fair. But as
Wait. Yeah, we could never find a good sale for the bison, so we just kept them for the cheese.
Oh, that's fair. Oh,
Fucking cheese.
Yeah, as you kind of head over towards it, the scroll kind of unraveling it, you see a bunch of depictions of trolls kind of moving their hands or doing like different moves as their bodies are kind of drawn in different depictions or their hands are drawn in. They're showing different like symbols.
So, I gotta ask, this scroll, is it like a bunch of separate, like, circles on one scroll that are separate casts, or is it one big remove curse thing?
Give me a knowledge arcana.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure my vestige doesn't affect that first. It does. Lore of Magic. After which you make a spellcraft check. If you exceed the target by 10 or more, you know any curses. Okay. So I am exceptional right now at understanding. Alright. But I think I only have a +2 to spellcraft, because obviously it's not a thing I put ranks in. 16.
16. As you look it over, it's almost seems to be strange that this it's not a spell scroll in the way you're familiar with. Spell scrolls have a single spell on them. This looks to have multiples of the same spell, kind of reprinted in different formats onto the leather strip or the large piece of leather. As you kind of take a second to think about it, it comes to a realization. The troll, the way he got around making this item was he made a item, not a spell scroll. Thus, it has, as you realize, the ability to cast it 10 times, or up to the ability to cast to a very high level.
I was gonna say, when I look at it for a minute, I do get all of the properties of the Identify spell for this vestige.
Ah, and yeah, you would realize that this item does have 10 times it can either cast at its base level, or it can cast it once for a remove curse, though it does not seem to, the remove curse doesn't seem to be any different. The symbols are only different as it shows a full troll's body painted instead of just the hands for every step of that, for that version.
Well, we're gonna see if one works.
All right, as you do so, give me I believe it's a roll. Is it? Let me double check.
Dispel magics, I think, are a d20 plus the caster level of the person, in this case, who made the item, because it's a scroll.
Well, yeah, but it's still Oh yeah, you have the ability to use this spell, right?
Technically, so I do. I'm counted as a wizard for
Okay.
items like this for my vestige.
But...
This is another one of my wizard vestiges. It's just not my Karsus one.
All right. No, it's not a roll. It just counters as dispels bestow curse. As you begin to, or as you use it, you watch as the item seems to glow for a moment, kind of seemingly changing its design, as if the blade starts to kind of lose its darkened color and starts to turn to a silver blade. As the darkened bits of metal seem to pull back, almost like a sharp spike-like mouth around the blade for a moment, as the two clashes of color begin to go, you watch as the blackened blade pulls forth and kind of pushes away as you feel the spell fail.
So this troll thing is all or nothing, right? It's either one or all.
As you look at it, it looks to be the case.
Fuck it, full on ritual.
Okay. As you begin to sit down, kind of focus it, the item begins to glow, and you hear screams coming from down below, James. The sounds of terror and death kind of emanate from down in the bottom floor. I need a will save from you, and I'm going to roll will saves for your entire crew.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
Would I be able to expend a point of divinity to prevent the fear from reaching them?
You could try. However, as you are magic and war, fear is a morale mechanic. So no, that's you could try.
I'll burn a divinity point to try and shield them, to at least somewhat, from the fear of this.
As you kind of focusing on, you feel as your magic starts to go out. Give me a wisdom check for this. Let's see how well if it goes.
Fucking 10.
As it does, you feel yourself pushing out, but as none of them follow you to that level of divinity, none of the power seems to reach them as they begin to roll.
Well, at least Nada might have some help from that.
It's true. 16.
As I will now roll my whiz save.
Alright.
For another 10. Great. fucking, I did great with my crafting and everything, and then
How good am
this.
I? Am I good at will saves? I really hope I am. I'm decent.
As you're the caster, you don't have to make the will save.
Oh, sweet.
You watch as only Grandpa, Rain, the cleric, and the oldest of the four rough bloods, Krark, managed to succeed, kind of holding their ground as they hear the screams. The rest seem to kind of start to cower, running away and trying to get off the ship, kind of onto the dock.
James will stand his ground, but he is terrified because he's in his room.
You got a 10, you said?
Yeah.
As you find yourself, your boots or your knees start to buckle slightly, and you feel the shaking coming on. You are terrified, James. It sounds like Alar is massacring an army down there.
James is just going to focus on something else as he puts that. He's buckling, so he's not going to swing a hammer at hot metal because that's dangerous. But he's going to focus on a saying that his dad's once told him. The hammer can forge many things. And start listing off what it can forge.
As he starts focusing in his
metals,
head.
Armors.
Yep.
And then the very final thing, it can even forge someone's will to be stronger.
As you focus your mind away, trying to really avoid thinking about the situation, Lar, down below, you watch as the axe begins to pull as this darkness seems to look like it's being pushed away to the back portion of the blade. The axe seemingly almost in a continuous fight between the almost silver-like color as well as the dark iron, blackened iron-like coloration. The two fighting and smashing against each other. After about 5 minutes of doing this continuing, you watch as the last of the removed curse imageries of the trolls doing their different moves with either their hand symbolism or the full body kind of showing a different kind of poses seems to slowly dissipate, leaving nothing but the leather behind. And as the leather begins to burn, you watch as the axe finally breaks away. The blackened bit seems to kind of pull to the top up of the metal, the very peak of it where there's a small spike, and seems to stop sticking around there at the very tip of the spike, leaving Life Drinker to be, as you can tell, almost uncursed, meaning now the item does not let me pull it.
Reset your fucking level?
No, suck your levels away as negative levels.
Yeah, so Cameron, I read Life Drinker because I've looked at it before because it was one of the names I read it. When you hit somebody, it gives them 1 negative level and gives you 2 negative levels.
Yep.
It'd be great if that was in reverse.
Also, if you're undead though or a construct, you don't get the negative. Is the idea?
Yeah,
that's fair.
I will say
it's made for undead.
As you kind of take a look at the Great Axe, it does work as now a +4 Great Axe. However, you do need to give me a intelligence save, or sorry, a will save.
I was about to say, I don't know how I'll roll an intelligence save, but I'll figure it out.
Christ.
Okay. 22.
22. You feel something trying to tear at your mind, and as you just barely manage to pull away from this like clawing hand that seems to try to tear at your consciousness, you feel even your balanced spirit seems to kind of be in the similar struggle for a moment as you pick up the weapon, sheathing it. But as you do so, the item seems, or the effect seems to stop completely.
Huh. I really hope it doesn't do that every time I draw the weapon. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's fine.
I guess I'll walk upstairs.
You can try identifying it now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna walk upstairs with no idea. I can identify it because a full minute if I inspect it, I get an identifier. Why not?
As you're walking back up, taking a slow walk up, looking it over.
Well, I imagine I probably was already kneeled when I was rolling this corner. I'll just sit there and kneel while I look at the thing before I get up.
Yeah, as you do so, you do notice this thing. So this does work, like I stated, as is, and you do see that this thing still has a strong necromancy, but it now also has strong divination attached to it. The caster level for this item is 15. It does require the feats to make it craft magic items, magic arms and armor, as well as and nerve or enervation, which I cannot fucking pronounce the spell.
Innovation.
Yes. So, it would work. It does look to seem likely work like similar to Life Drinker, other than the minor changes to the strong divination and the higher caster level on it.
And just higher plus item in general.
I will say, the blade does, the blade does seem to have some sort of a personality to it, as it seems to, as I mentioned, pull out your every fiber of your being, trying to change your mentality and outlook on the world.
Can I talk to it? If it has a mentality, can I see if it's like truly sentient or just kind of like emotional?
Sure. Are you gonna pull it back out of the sheath?
Yeah, I succeeded the save for now. Why not?
All right, give me another save.
Look, this will only go well, right?
No, it will not.
Yeah, it totally will. 23.
23.
Even better.
You managed to kind of hold your mind against this item for a moment, kind of feeling the pull against your mind as you withdraw it, but it seems to not take hold once more.
Alar want talk to you.
The item does not respond.
Mean item. I'll just sheath it for now. Figure it out later.
Do you say mean item in your head? Or out loud?
Well, what I say out loud is I want to talk to you. And then first I think it doesn't like Alar. Only mean people don't like Alar. As his ears kind of flop down as he goes to sheath the item.
You hear it go, I am the one who started this stupid elves, and they put me in this damn thing. You can also now speak Elvish, by the way.
Nice. Hey, this might help you. Make note. So, what happened? You want to be Alar's friend? Why you in weapon? Didn't know that was possible.
You can call me... honestly, at this point, it doesn't even matter. The lady, is what they were calling, the damn elves were calling me before this. I don't know if that's going to be the case anymore, since that idiot managed to seal me. Tell you what, how about this, you handsome, devilishly capable, amazing caster. You free me and I'll give you a favor.
Mm-hmm. Ritual involved in you freeing you? Anything specific?
Yeah, I need the blood of 100 people, the tears of a princess.
Too difficult.
And if possible, the beard of that bastard known as Alfred Stone, but that's not required. That's just an optional.
Wait, you know who that is? That's you heard him call James uncle. You heard him declare himself James's uncle.
No metagaming.
Alar
Hush you.
at the time was under Savnok.
Yeah, he was under the influence of the individual. He didn't have control of Savnok.
Savnok.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Savnok heard you call,
Savnok
so
knows this.
Savnok will know who this is. Because my vestiges remember, I don't.
Oh god. Alar coming up to James. So we need Alfred Stone's beard.
Oh, I'm not telling you any of this.
She continues and goes, oh, and the blood of an elven king or chief or someone of position. Your friend, the one that travels with the little snowbeard, he won't work. He's not noble. I need like proper. If he's got a father or something like that, or a mother that rules things, that'll work.
When say blood, little blood, all blood and body.
Listen, the ritual just says 100 bodies worth of blood. I assume it's the whole. It's just we just got to kill the individual.
Well,
but technically,
that. I meant elven person.
Oh,
elven chief. Little bit of blood, all of his blood.
I mean, well, I need just a pinch of their blood will work. It's just enough to act as a catalyst to go take over their body. Oh, don't worry. I'm not doing this so I can take over your body. Like, I know that's a common threat people get with the Afridi. I
So,
hear it all the time.
I see. So Alar needs to do Elven Chief Blood last. Yes?
Yeah, sure, doesn't expire.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it'll take a while, but Alar can do that.
Good. In exchange, you can free me before it happens. I can't tell you what it is, but before you'll know when it does. Then I'll reward you. And if you can't, well, we're both gonna die anyway, so I'll help you survive as long as possible.
I'm about to start collecting bodies of people I kill and not answer why.
It's like the rogue who can't answer why he's got 12 skulls.
Now, how do
And
I
the
make
wizard
a
who
princess?
can't ask why he has them.
Now, the question though is, how does Alara make a princess cry, and how do I get to a princess in the first place? Wait, Greg has daughters, right?
Theoretically.
Well, I know you do. Be out of game because
Yeah.
I mean,
fucking
technically,
you offered your hand
technically
up as a
wouldn't
joke
Essa-
to lose them.
Wouldn't Essa be like Greg's daughter?
No, Essa would be
So-
one of his, like, wouldn't be blood related because she's a different dragon.
Technically, Essa would be a princess because of the story you gave me to the Song Dragons.
I didn't give you the story. You got the story from many of the character developments, but yeah.
Well, when I say gave you, it's because it happened in a game.
Oh, that's fair.
That's because you tell the story. You know what
Yes.
I mean. So technically, I need Essa to cry. That's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be difficult.
Just tell her that James is looking to marry her.
She might get angry instead.
You know, it's 50-50.
Angry tears. It didn't say tears of sadness.
Sure.
There are potions that make people cry. Would that be possible?
In theory.
Onions.
Poison. Yeah, there's poison that you
I
can
Onion.
gotta
pick.
go find.
Yeah.
Look, as a Lar, I gotta go find Essa. I have a favorite ass that's gonna be very non-explained.
But as the axe kind of goes quiet, they hear the last thing and goes, "Oh, and don't tell your friends about this. They probably won't be okay with you doing what you're gonna have to do. You might have to kill one of them. In fact, if that's the case,
Wasn't planning on telling.
probably smart. I'd feel bad if you had to kill your friends. Although I will say the short one probably looks on to you like you're a slight of a threat. The tall one
What
is
the-
as oblivious as he can be.
What friend?
The short one.
No, what is friend?
I
Alar
don't.
only have packets.
Oh God.
Never had friend before.
Oh God. So I'm not.
Look. Alar don't know many words raised among gnolls.
Wait, you're a knoll?
Yes.
My future is in the hands of a mutt.
Very smart gnoll. Hey, that's rude.
I've put my future in the hands of a creature that's race was enslaved with a handshake and some raw meat.
really what-
You don't know anything about your own people's. Oh no.
I'm 16.
You can feel the emotions being kind of pushed out by this axe of like sadness and depression
Look,
and concern.
Look. Ritual you
I
gave
hope-
me not require intelligence. Ritual you gave me require bloodshed. Bloodshed can't do.
I'm gonna trust in you, Grand Champion. I believe you can do this, and in exchange, I promise you great value for your future endeavors. I will defend you and help you while I can, and once I am free of my chains, I will, of course, reward you to be in the most appropriate manner. For the time being, I ask only that you think of what you'd ask of me for this in exchange for this great deal.
Very well.
Back.
Then we talk later.
Oh, I hope not. You hear as suddenly you feel the spirit fade from the axe.
Alara will ignore that. What's the joke? This sign can't tell me what to do because I can't read. Yeah.
This is
If I can't read, it can't tell me what to do.
the Moonlight Fantasy. If he was just instead of being like notoriously annoyed, it'd be just completely oblivious. You find yourself kind of coming out of a sort of trance. Rain just kind of sits off to the side, kind of horrified as she looks at you. She kind of speaks up and goes, Alar, do you know what you did?
Lark cocks their head to the side. What mean?
Alar, you have very long blonde hair right now. And it's kind of freaking me out as you kind of feel to the side. You feel long, flowing blonde locks of like human-like hair.
To be fair, my hair was already blonde. It was just a mohawk before.
However, now your hair almost unnaturally sags, and you feel yourself. You kind of feel your face. You feel it looks slightly different. And she goes, "You also kind of look a lot better. Like more not to be like rude, but you look more like an elf."
Like, how much like an elf? Is my snout gone?
You still have the slight snout. It's just kind of less defined, like more like a slightly more smushed in dog's face. A little less so far extended. You also are not that smushed in. I'm saying like it's still pronounced a little bit, but just not as out as like a full snout.
James, motherfucker, you call me a pug, you die.
You are also
campaign today.
Beforehand. You used to have like longer fingers, claws that kind of expanded out from those fingers, and were a bit more like kind of slightly hunched. Shoulders and back slightly wider, but like thinner around the stomach because, of course, you're not humanoid. You don't have the big gut that normally comes with it, and you're also tribal.
Like thin. I'm thin, tall, muscled.
Now your muscles seem to kind of narrowed slighter. You've got more. You feel your stomach is kind of almost expanded out, having like side muscles that suddenly seem to almost appear there. You feel your body slightly morph, and though your height doesn't change, you kind of standing up more straight, feel yourself slightly look a little taller out.
My hunch goes away.
Rain kind of just looks at you in slight horror and goes, I'm not gonna lie, you look like a Frankenstein decided to fuck a dog.
I look at my hands. I look at my reflection whenever I can.
Looking over at the bucket of water. Yeah. No, imagine looking over at the bucket water.
Hands on their head and goes, oh god, I'm ugly.
Rain kind of giggle at that and go, I do agree, you've kind of lost your Nolish beauty. You're not as strong looking now. You kind of look more like an elf fucked a dog.
Alar kind of freaking out a little bit, starts speaking in Elvish. What do Alar not? Alar not sharp ear person, Alar dog, Alar no get. What Alar saying? What this language?
You see as Rain kind of perks up and goes, wait, you speak Elvish as she speaks in perfect Elvish.
I guess do now. This is weird.
I think we should maybe show you to James. Maybe he can remove curse. He's a cleric. He should be able to take care of you.
Not curse.
I'm pretty sure it's a curse to be given that. And she kind of tries not to laugh, or kind of chuckle, and goes, "The loving locks that you have."
It not curse. It blessing of weapon. It bless.
Well, maybe we can remove it. By bestowing a curse.
Now probably Rain's technically a caster, right? Like a high level one.
She's an X-Blade.
Yeah, so they're a full caster technically.
Half caster.
Well, they're high enough level to probably notice. Do they see the very magically charged axe that's probably connected to me now?
As she looks at the axe, she goes, as you kind of hold it out, she goes, "It looks the same. It's a black blade.
I look at it.
It's bright silver with only the very tip of the top spike of it being slightly blackened."
You not see?
She looks at you and goes, "I think your eyes got changed as well. I think James should work on you. Or maybe actually, where's our doctor? He should be on the ship somewhere."
James starting listing out loud different metals to hammer.
Yeah.
In a procedurally louder voice until your words
looks about for first flame, and she kind of comes up to the crew deck with Alar in tow and goes, "James, Alar turned himself into a beautiful man."
This will snap James out of the reciting of metals and say, "Bring them into my room, I guess."
Might be a woman, hard to tell.
What I would say, what's probably happened to Rain before, spending enough time on Alar, when they say man, like outright beautiful man, I think my hand on reflex swings at Rain.
Listen, oh Jesus!
I'm not thinking about it, but like, come on, man.
She kind of looks up.
That's why James is referred to as Lar as a
She looks over at you and goes, Listen, I'm just saying, given the current appearance, it's hard to tell because I don't know if it still applies being an elf. If it like stayed or if it like now is fully functional. As she kind of looks down at your midriff.
How
DM.
naked is
I
Alar?
slightly pull out my head just so I can look down. Is it gone?
As you look down, it is still there.
Ah. I sigh of relief.
You see it, Rain Kyle looking over and goes, and she looks up at James and goes, "No, yeah, definitely man.
Queen.
Queen with that's a one queen we've seen today." She kind of takes a second.
James is just going to grab a spare blanket, throw it over Alar because they no longer have hair to hide them. It looks
No, they
like
are. They're still covered on head to toe in hair.
I want to put out.
Also,
you don't remember my image? I'm not very hairy.
I thought you were.
Oh wait, yeah.
No.
No.
If you look at my image, my fur was shaved down to almost my skin.
Oh,
I
it
had
is,
tattoos
yeah.
going over my whole body.
That's
the
right.
The only heavy fur was over like the head area
And the
That's why
spine.
when you said they were less furry that I
yeah. So
that.
would mean what little fur I had is like now at like skin level. Like it's
my apologies. Yeah. Your fur is gone. So it is other than the long blonde hair kind of off to the sides. They are now a hairless, except with the long blonde locks. Noel.
Get in here and sit down. I'll bring Alar into my room.
Although, Alar, now are you? Oh no, because you don't get the physical effect or appearances unless the individual takes over. Never mind.
No. Also, the only physical change of this one, fun fact of the Green Lady, I do seem more beautiful because that is an effect of the Green Lady.
Yeah, the irony.
Like I have like two beauty effects overlapping. Fun fact: the only appearance of the Green Lady that changes is you randomly covered in pulses of green. But since I succeeded, I can hide the sign.
Okay, just making sure.
So yeah.
As you two kind of, or as James beckons for you to come into the room, kind of throwing a blanket on you. As they do so, I assume go walking with them.
Yeah, I'm walking, but I'm imagining I'm holding my pants a little bit since I thinned out a little bit. They don't quite fit right anymore.
Mm-hmm.
James will grab a bit of twine, a bit of rope, and just make a belt quick, looping it around you and tying it off at just above your waist. Through the pants as well, making sure. There. Sit.
All right, I'll sit. But DM looks like a Lars bringing parachute pants to the current modern era.
Uh-huh. As you kind of sit down, finding the chair surprisingly comfortable.
Now that I don't have like a tail and.
Yeah, it's easy to sit down on. Your legs and hindquarters are kind of designed for it in a sense.
Oh, this is weird.
Explain how this happened. I trust you, Alar. So let's get through this.
Bot weapon.
That's the first part. What the fuck happened?
The bot weapon. I point at the weapon.
James is gonna look you dead in the eyes. You have terrified all but 4 people on this crew, including myself.
Weapon, Alar uncursed weapon. Weapon do this.
Did you talk to something in the weapon?
No.
Did something talk to you from the weapon?
No.
James will grab a bottle, the wine bottle, and do the thing that he needs to do to cast Identify as he identifies Alar.
As you kind of sit down and begin to identify Alar, you catch that Alar is now able to take up the Oracle domain.
I'm never going to.
As well as Alar seems to almost have an unnatural ability to wield a larger or cleaver-like swords. As you cast this on
I will
them.
list off these magical changes to Alar.
The last thing is, as you do this, you do see a hint of something that kind of catches your attention. Give me a wisdom check to see if you can figure out what this is, given your magic domain.
Oh.
We'll do wisdom and knowledge religion just to see if you can actually just to see what happens.
25, nat 20 plus 5 for wisdom.
Damn. All right. Well, let's see what you get with the knowledge religion. See how much you really know.
That's a nat 20 plus 3 for
Gee.
23.
Oh my god. Oh my
My
god. I
friend
can
is in
actually see it
danger.
too.
I
Jesus
need
Christ.
my friend to be okay.
You.
I'm very.
You see an old elven woman kind of standing over the back of Alar, kind of leaning down, looking at him. Her very hefty wrinkles, her dark green eyes, her long blondish hair, in anger that seems to almost be kind of spewing across her face as she looks down at Alar, kind of hold her hand on his shoulder. The bony fingers of an old lady kind of clearly shown, looking like they're digging into Alar, although Alar doesn't feel a thing. And as the individual kind of stands over them, you recognize this person as the supposed. You've heard rumors in Diamond's death of this god recently, kind of popping up. Apparently a elven lady who had been killed or sacrificed by the elven chiefs in exchange for a potential chance at power, or like similar to how the giants had gained power. However, supposedly this backfired and created a new cult following to the individual. She is known originally as Alara Sunshadow, but those who follow her cult following call her the Lady of Time.
Ah. James will hold on to that information before looking at him, and then I'm going to look at that axe.
As you take a look at the axe, you see a blackened axe blade that looks to be very angry. The blade's slightly cracked and gnarled, little bits of red kind of glowing throughout the cracks as you kind of take a look at it. This looks like a weapon that was designed by like fiends to kill people. Like as a stereotypical like joke as a blacksmith, you would expect like this. This is kind of the edginess that you hear people or make jokes about when it comes to a fiendish smithing.
That axe is a bad joke in the making, and you have been in contact with someone who has a bit of a cult following, it seems.
Alar cocks his head.
Were you talking to a very angry woman, Alar?
Alar no talk. Alar think you think.
Okay, did you think with them?
Yeah.
All right. Did they ask you to do? Did they think for you to do something? In asking for your help to get.
You
for
watch
anything?
as the axe almost seems to start to wiggle in its sheath, slowly bouncing about until it pulls itself out. And you hear James as an old lady's voice comes through, and Laura, this voice doesn't sound the same as the one you had heard earlier, being so much sweeter and kinder sounding and young, very young. As the voice cackles through and goes, "You listen here, you little shit. I know what you are. You and your little war magic domain. You're trying to make my new champion turn into some foreign god. I will cut you down before you can stand. I know what you
I'm gonna
are."
look at this axe, dead in what is basically the
Dead in the
artistic
blade.
eye of it.
Dead in the blade.
So the blade. You know, I have no issue with whoever Alar wants to follow. None whatsoever. I will not try to convert them. I'm worried about their safety because this isn't normal for how they look, and they're definitely shaken. And personally, I don't believe in any single god.
"You filthy snowbeards, I know about you." Yeah, you see the old crone kind of slightly, the visage of her kind of turn towards you, Alar, and goes, "Fine!" Snaps her fingers, and Alar starts to morph back into her original appearance, kind of reappearing. Although the mohawk kind of being a bit more platinum blonde, or brighter blonde as it comes through, you see as the old lady, kind of elven lady, turns to you, James, and goes, "Let this be known, though. If you turn this down, if you refuse my mission, I will make sure whoever picks it up next finds you and takes your life, youngin."
I look at her. I have no problems with whatever mission Alar's agreed to. That's Alar's business. If I can help, and they ask me to, I might. But I reserve the right to refuse, but I will not impede them.
"I leave you with these wise words." She kind of seems to dismiss you for a second and goes, There's going to come someone who's going to kill you because you annoy them. Young James, let it be known soon that your long-windedness is not appreciated amongst the gods. They will send their champions to chase you. We know what's coming. And you see as the visage kind of dissipates as the axe seems to go back to its silverish coloration now, James, that you can see.
I look at the
James
axe.
will look at Alar, now back in their mostly normal form, besides the more platinum blonde hair. I apologize for annoying her, but you seem distressed, and I'd rather make sure you were comfortable in your body.
I'm gonna hawk my head to the side. Alar looks very calm now that they're back to normal, and Alar is just gonna, in very Alar fashion, or as I like to call them, as the other part calls them, netisms. Isn't Big Blue Frosty Man a god champion?
Yeah. He's one of
Oh
the
no!
few, though, that I believe can be bought off.
But tribe leaders swing once and die. How strong most tribe leaders are.
I
No
guess
time
I'll
for
just have to
talking.
work on getting stronger.
Oh. Alar kind of claps their hands together. Alar learned thing about bounty.
What'd you learn?
It Uncle's fault.
Which one?
Don't know.
Is anybody else caught up in it then?
Uh, cousin Iter.
Oh god, it was probably his fucking father.
Also, bounty because Uncle owe a lot of money. Not possible to earn that much money. Uh, can you help with number? Alar was told number, but don't understand how big it is.
Yeah, I can probably help you.
2 billion gold.
At that, James falls on his ass. That's more than a fucking country has.
There's more gold.
Oh,
That's more gold pieces than you've ever heard of.
Also learned things about person who put bounty and we can't deal with from things learned.
Did you learn their name?
Blackbone.
Fucking son of a bitch that... Oh, I'm going to go strangle my uncle.
Also, Blackbone apparently immortal. Killed 17 times, came back every time.
Oh, then it'd take trapping his soul somewhere to keep him from resurrecting. It's a pain in the ass.
Sound like notes left by magical vestige. Still not no vestige name. Leech.
Lich, or it could be
Lich.
he could be a revenant evolution. Revenant are undead that revive through hatred. Liches keep coming back with as long as their phylactery is in place.
What's
Well,
up,
first of all, Revenants don't have phylacteries. Would Revenants, because they're very emotional based, would that be more common in a tribal setting as a thing that just happen?
It'd be basically, since they're based on their last emotion, it'd be common amongst warriors who felt like they died on without a satisfying death, or like they would continue the fight to protect their families as their clan would be destroyed, and then their bodies would kind of come back later, rising from the dead almost, and then protecting those grounds.
Would I understand how long they last normally?
So that is not known at this point in history because no studies have been done. Most just seem to know that they dissipate. They seem to dissipate after a few years.
I would say what I know, they don't last very long.
It's noted that they most common knowledge is that these creatures seem to disappear after a few years, or if they don't get their vengeance.
Which is why James is saying a special version.
From how old that guy was, because with Alar's doing his very simple math. 450 more than a few. This man worth many 450, so the very old dwarf, probably not Revenant.
Well, he could be a special one, like I said.
But Alar will make the point of, if come back and very strong and die many times and come back, also told his armada size can take on a country.
That doesn't quite surprise me, although he might have died again recently.
Also told all followers will come to him and snap a finger.
He also has ties to the Black Hand, and who knows what else, so...
If man that strong, and this will our very basic thought, Alar think he is Black Hand. Not ties to. is leader.
Possible.
I mean, bigger tribe, no pout a smaller tribe. Make no sense.
Things in this world don't always work that simply, but generally you're right.
So, what do?
Well, we can go about this 3 ways. Avoid him at all costs. With the bounty he's put out on me, most people are going to assume I'm much more dangerous than I appear, and will either have only the crazy or the people that are confident in themselves. The crazies we can handle. The ones confident in themselves, we're fucked.
Well, I want you to know, among the crazies is Zilpip, and if he decides... Alar willing to fight any challenger, but if as strong as Black Hand, Alar no promise can win.
Or we can start trying to make him seem like he's not as powerful as they claim.
Or third choice. Alar like third choice.
What's the
like
third
other choice? Pin on cousin.
You're right. I could just write a letter
Not
saying
our
that
problem.
it's not my problem, it's not my father, and just
You
pin it
want
solely
Alar
on him.
spread rumor that cousin is son of uncle and not cousin?
Yeah, Ader should be able to handle this.
Alar can spread, because understanding of debt, old person said, debt goes to next direct child, yes?
Usually that'd be how it would
So,
work.
if Alar spread rumor that that's son and not cousin might buy time?
Oh, it definitely will. And if he has kids, then it'll go to them, or it'll follow
Okay,
up with his mother.
Alar be back tomorrow.
Be safe, take Rain with you.
No,
loosen that belt up though, too.
Must go alone, minimum ties.
Okay.
Alright.
As James will get up and get back to and go make sure the crew's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm off to mix up false rumors in the trade capital of the world.
Alright. Give me a diplomacy check as you head into town for the day.
Friendly faces their asses.
As James works about with his crew and continues kind of working away at his blueprint, getting anything else to kind of make sure he's hammered out the finest of details.
Yeah. Get this done, because I want this hammer to be good, and I burnt a point to divinity trying to protect the crew. I don't know if it'll come back ever.
Alright, boys, don't worry. I rolled a 32 to spread false rumors.
32. What are you exactly stating?
I'm going to sort my thoughts first by talking out loud, and then I'll tell you exactly. Okay. So, I'm thinking more or less Alar's going to spread specifically to seedier taverns and stuff, because that makes more sense that it would get to Og quicker. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That Iter, although claiming to be just a cousin, is actually the son of the uncle that lost all that shipment and lost all that money for Og. And I think that's the general rumor I want to spread. Because if I keep it vague, they won't track it back to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't want to use names other than Iter. And I'll make it clear that... And I also want to add to the rumor that James is a more distant cousin. So he's not as close as people think to this uncle.
Okay. Go ahead and, with that, you already rolled. And remind me, what did you roll? 32.
32?
Let
the rumors fly.
Yeah, as it
this
starts...
type of gossip gets them.
It starts to pick up around town, there is more and more notes about some individual named Eider that's was the true heir to the not treasure horn.
Yeah.
Frosthorn. Frosthorn, that's what it is.
Yeah. To the Frosthorns, and
to
he's
the-
hiding from
No,
his dad. It's very
Frosthammer
funny.
was it? Wait, because it was Treasure
So-
Horn Frosthammer. Yeah, to the Frosthammer
the
clan.
rumor is-
Yeah, as that kind of pops up, people start talking about, and it starts to spread. You hear people talking about amongst the bar, and even Essay, as you guys kind of pass by, kind of mentions that in kind of comings and goings amongst the town as you kind of spend your free time doing little odd jobs, or walking around town the rest of the day. You begin to hear these rumors spreading left and right as people are talking about it here in hushed tones.
This also will end up making Blackbone Og look bad for targeting someone who wasn't
The wrong
a
guy.
part of it.
As you spend the rest of the day doing this, Alar, James, I'm gonna give you some time to think on what you'd like to do with your free time. But we're gonna wrap up here for today, with the party getting a full extra day of downtime on top of what they got today. So James will get his 8 actions, assuming he's 12 actions for the day. For the 12 hours he'll be awake, and then 12 actions for the next day, so that'll be 24 in total. That'll go to as well to Rolliman. Alar, you'll get your 12, but as you spend the day kind of spreading this rumor to and make sure that every race kind of is talking about it, so that it goes to as many lands as possible.
Dude, it's gonna be like a week, and every time to talk about it because your fucking portal network.
Exactly. We'll
It's
end
gonna
session
get
here.
to fucking Sunday, and it's
We-
gonna fuck them up.
We thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you on the next time.